Oh, hold on, Ray. I won't wind up hitting the deny button. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Tyler, damn. I just denied the homie Ray almost. What's up, Ray?
Yeah, the homie Ray up in here. He up in the house.
Shepard, don't be laughing. Get your ass up here, too.
What's going on? How y'all doing tonight?
Shoot, how you doing, Ray? All good, bro.
What's going on, y'all?
Man, we good, man. Had a long day at work where I had to get up. Oh, God, 3:30, but I'm here.
Yeah, you having them night shifts and whatnot, y'all. Definitely. Now, I'm not going to hold it up any. We try to let people filter in, come into the space and whatnot, but, I'm not going to hold it up. Tonight's space is just about the impact of religion. Has it helped? Has it hurt Black Americans? When we talk about religion, we're not just talking about Christianity. We're talking about all of it. We talk about all of the Abrahamic religions. We're talking about Judaism. We're talking about Christianity. We're talking about Islam. And if anybody has anything else that they think Buddhism or Hinduism or whatever it is that they want to add to the topic tonight, then please, by all means, go ahead. If you believe that it has helped and it has been a big bonus and it's been a strength of the Black community, go ahead and state that. It's not, we're not going to tear anybody down because of their opinion. If you think that it's been a crutch and it's been devastating to the actual progression of Black people, especially in the past 50, 60 years, then by all means, you can also go ahead and give your 2 cents on that too. Like I say, Ray, you got your hand up. What's going on?
I guess I might as well start it off, man. So, can we just keep it a buck? It absolutely has benefited both good and bad because they realize that we as Black people are very spiritual people. So they actually use that against us, which had our asses enslaved for 400 doggone years. So we have to look at it from that aspect too. But obviously, some people, obviously religion has is good too because it keeps people out of trouble. The 10 Commandments to me is like basic common sense. But, it's good to have that in writing. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, among the other commandments and things. So, it's going to be pretty interesting tonight. I got a feeling like it's going to eventually turn into like kind of a fight a little bit. When people get in here and start disagreeing. But we're going to see, man. I think it's going to be a really good conversation. Like I said, it serves good and bad. I think it really just depends on the person that's trying to get you, whatever religion they're trying to get you towards and how they want to use it either for or against you.
All righty. And I just want to start it off right here. I just go up in the Jumbotron on the far right. I put an actual article in there that was curated. It was on the Newstoter platform. I think it was Live Steve's. They were the original ones. And this article is some years old, y'all, so it's dated. This article might be close to 10 years old. And we're talking about Black churches. And the gist of it is basically it's talking about how much money Black churches have collected since 1980. It's a very, very quick, short article. I just want to touch up on it and let y'all hear it so people can form their own opinions one way or another. Okay, it says, Live Steve's research shows that Black churches have collected more than $420 billion in tithes and donations since 1980. With the Senate investigation of the finances of several mega churches underway, the prosperity movement has been targeted of mounting criticism from the inside and outside of the Black church, specifically the affluent ministries of the Reverend Creflo Dollar. Of course, it's talking about Bishop Eddie Long. We all know he's dead. And others have drawn the attention and ire of some of the clergymen and lay people alike. Researcher Henry E. Fielder study of Black donations habits demonstrated per capita spending of $508 per year in 2009. Another source, Tyler Media Services, estimated that Black church revenue approached $17 billion in 2006. One church, the Reverend Dollar's World Changers, reported that $69 million in 2006 income, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Mainstream politicians and Black community leaders are demanding a better accounting of the return on investment offered by churches to the communities that fund them. Meanwhile, legions of their faithful churchgoers defend their pastors and accuse the detractors of playing a double standard that ignores the wealthy white televangelists while underplaying the economic development and social service functions provided by the Black church. The church has got caught up in the materialistic and greed, a lifestyle many ministers today want to live like celebrities and want to be treated like celebrities. In other words, instead of a church standing with the community, the church has become self-serving. It has strayed away from its mission, according to Dr. Love Henry Wedgell, professor of church history at the Interdenominational Theological Center in Atlanta. Few people, not even the ongoing congressional investigation by Senator Chuck Grassley, accused of megachurch pastors of outright larceny and generally approve of the pastor's luxurious lifestyles. However, in a blatant recent example, a father and son pastor team, 76-year-old Richard Cunningham of Moreno Valley, and his 52-year-old son, Philip Cunningham, pleaded guilty to felony grand theft and fraud charges. The younger Cunningham also pleaded guilty to forgery. Over 5 years, prosecutors said the Cunningham stole from Calvary Baptist Yoruba Lender Church and school bank accounts used the money to buy timeshares in Hawaii and Palm Springs, golf club memberships, and a Cadillac. Prosecutors say the men are paid $3.1 million in restitution to the church. Livesteve's investigative series will take a forensic editorial approach to quantifying the return to Black America for the $350 billion in tax-favored donations it has given the Black church. Examining the arguments on both sides of the pulpit in this series, we will seek answers and advisory to the following questions: how often and how much do church leaders take advantage of the faith of their poor Black people? Will we investigate and identify these churches that are showing a strong return on investment that goes beyond inspiration? What does the Black community have to show for the $350 billion in tax-free dollars? Okay, experts on analysis of what could potentially be done, such as a huge amount of money, how it could be set aside to improve the state of our communities. So that's pretty much what that's about. It's saying that you had something $450 billion in tithes and donations. This is saying $350 billion in tax favored donations since 1980, mind you. So we're not talking about 100 years. We're just talking about since 1980. Definitely, modern times. So I was reading, so I wasn't sure who was first. DJ, so go ahead and let us know the order so we can go ahead and let everybody get a chance to speak up and speak.
It was Brother
Ray got his hand up. Yeah, go ahead.
No, if it wasn't me, it was Brother Friedman first.
It don't matter, Ray. You the call, so you had your hand up too. So if you want Fair This and Black Pressure and Shepherd, whoever want to go ahead, Ray. You got the mic.
Now, I just wanted to speak on the churches and stuff, man, because I'm pretty sure everyone in here should be aware of the faith-based initiatives. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied trying to say that, and how that tied in. Because a lot of you churches, especially back in the day, they would speak about racism and things like that. But since they started taking those that money from, I believe it was on the Bush, for that faith-based initiative stuff, you notice they don't really talk about that anymore. And one more thing I wanted to say really quick before I landed my plane was Dr. Umar pointed out very brilliantly how the Black church is actually being used as being weaponized against us. Because obviously they say every Sunday, we'll take, a couple $1 million and we put the money into a bank. So, all right, Black people, we take all that money we put into the bank. On Monday, where does that money go? That money goes to a white bank. The white banks give that to where? To the white land developers who do what? They go up in the doggone hood and buy up all the land. So grandma's been donating $50 to this church, and this whole time that money's been used to gentrify her to put her ass out the same house in the same hood that she's been, in the church she's been donating to. And I land on that.
Alrighty, and everybody that wants to speak tonight, just try to keep a little bit of order of things. Go ahead and raise your hand. Like I say, I was reading, so I didn't actually see who had their hands up, but it's between Fair and Black Pressure. So, which one of you guys?
Look at Brother Fair is up. I know he be spitting on the religion real hard, and after that,
okay.
Black Pressure.
Yeah, what's going on, family? Yeah, I want to. This is the thing. I want to add to Ray and just give some more pinpoints, because really, I can go micro, but I'm just gonna stay macro as far as on the broadest scheme of things of what's been happening. What we don't see, and everybody can attest to this, is that you don't see the togetherness of the different church platforms, whether they call themselves grape, orange, apple. Like you say, you got Presbyterian, Episcopalian, Pentecostal, all the other source of things. But you don't see the togetherness, even for just black churches, if you will say that, for them to come together and to decide on what would be the educational system to have for our youth, our lineage, stuff of that nature. You don't see that. And like for what that article you have read from the beginning, I mean, it's just right there. It just shows you the data as far as what's really happening, as far as the money that's being made. And then like I said, now you got all these churches, even for one city. Not even talking about a state, but you have for one city. Where can you see the grocery store? Where can you see some sort of harmony amongst all the churches, no matter what you call yourself? Where can that show forth so that you can at least have somewhere to come to and have a moment of saying, this is ours, or we're doing this, or we're able to help the community or our surroundings to be a better upliftment for everybody to see the best of us, because there's a lot of faults. I mean, it's a lot of faults, and like Ray said about the FBI, faith-based initiative churches. They're getting money from the government, and that was from the second Bush. All these things are orchestrated in order to take away from our spirituality, and it's really hurting. And I don't think people really would like to get into the crevices or the in depth of it, but it has to be dismantled in order to go forward, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, unless we start asking questions, and I could go on. I'm a lamb, but if we start asking those pertinent questions, that's when things will at least rock out from the many wrinkles to start getting a smooth paper. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a lamb. I'm going to go ahead and land, but I can talk more. Go ahead.
Oh, no worry, brother, because we're going to definitely come back to you. So just, hang tight or whatnot. I see Shepard up in this space, so I know Shepard going to have something to add to the discussion tonight as well, too. So let's go ahead and get to Black Pressure, then we're going to get to MF Kush.
I'll start off by saying what's up to the Black family. Peace to the host and the co-host. So one thing I'll say real quick, my DoorDash just came to the door, so I'm going to say something real quick, and I'm going to land, listen to everybody else. But one thing that as far as it relates to black people, what religion did, it actually vilified the emotions that black people once had as far as it relates to resistance. Like I know a lot of the, my family, my personal family, friends, different coworkers, associates. If you go up to a black person and tell them that hate isn't a negative, the first thing they're going to go is to some religious literature or some kind of out of context, I guess ideology that Western religion has taught them. But like I said, I'm going to say this real quick news, and I'm going to land, listen to everybody else. Hate is not a negative. I know religion has taught us that hate is a negative. Well, let me say this: hate is not always a negative. Let me streamline what I said. Hate is not always a negative. Like, I'll give you a couple examples. If you look at our beautiful brother Malcolm X, the impetus for the work that he put in is he hated white supremacy. He hated it down to his bone marrow. And like I said, that was the impetus, that was the driving force for him putting in the work he put in. Look at once again, our beautiful brother Martin Luther King Jr. And I know a lot of black people in a certain age group, these days have mixed feelings about him. But same thing, he hated white supremacy. He couldn't stand white supremacy, even to the point where he gave that famous speech, "I might not get there with you." He hated it so much that his own life became secondary to fighting white supremacy. I use myself as an example. I hate white supremacy. Not only the system and the ideology, I hate the individuals that make it up. And I'm anti-religion, but I'm not an atheist. I do believe in a God. The God that I believe in, when I pray that God destroy white supremacy and all the individuals that make it up. And like I said, I'm eating my little food, man, and I'm going to land and listen to the black family and all what they got to say.
No doubt.
From the menu, real quick,
Black
man.
Pressure. You can go ahead and come back as well too. So we'll definitely be waiting to hear your response. MF, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey y'all, shout out to everybody in the room. Shout out to the co-host and the host. Hello, brothers and sisters. Has religion helped or hurt the black or helped Black Americans? No. I said this in a comment in the space. It was used and it still is being used to keep us in a childlike, docile-like state. It is taught to us that our enemy, the minute our enemy does something wrong to us, we're supposed to look the other way. We're supposed to still be peaceful and calm with this enemy and treat this enemy as if they are a friend. Treating white supremacy is not my goal. It's not my friend. It has done nothing but cause distortion, confusion, and disillusion in my community. It has managed to put us against each other and not wanting us to work with each other and actually show camaraderie. Nothing about religion has been beneficial to our community, especially even around the world. Still now to this day, people are still having wars on religion. People may not like each other, maybe because their race anymore. It's all about religion. Now, I'm not a religious person at all whatsoever. I think me believing in a white man's religion contributes to white supremacy and says that this white man is my savior. He's not my savior. And it's when you take on a religion that is not originally yours, it erases who your people are. It replaces the ideologies that you once believed in at one point in time, and it takes the culture, our culture, to an all-time low. It's interesting when you go to churches and you see the stained glass and they get you by the music, because the music is so fucking powerful, it'll make you weep because you feel the passion. But guess what? The minute that you donate, you put your money in that collection plate. Pastor got a new car. First lady got a new dress. Pastor got some new rims. Pastor made a new down payment on another house. While the church that's supposed to be used to worship this idol is breaking down and in disarray in itself. So no, I believe that religion has most definitely played a part in the distortion of our community. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem. And I'm gonna get to you the company because I know you just came in, so I'm gonna since you haven't had a chance to speak, I'm gonna get to you, then I'm gonna get to Fear, then I'm gonna get to Ray. But I just want to just ask everybody in the space this here: what exactly? How do we feel about when we look at the civil rights movement? And we know a lot of times that you had that black people couldn't really meet in a lot of different places, so they use a church as a place to actually get together and a game plan and to actually put things together and stuff like that. Do you think that the black church back in those days, maybe 50, 60 years ago, was more impactful and stronger than what we see today? And also, this is just a two-part question. Also, how do we view all of the Abrahamic religions, not just Christianity? How do we view Islam? How do we view Judaism as well, too? So, I'm interested in just hearing everybody's points and views about all three of the major religions, and exactly, was there a time that religion did work for us in America? Was it a time back in shortly after slavery, whether it was Reconstruction, whether it was the Jim Crow era, that it was a unifying thing, that it brought us together, that we could actually go ahead and we could create and we can actually freelance and just use our brilliant minds to go ahead and push an agenda for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic, and I believe that like I said, the company, you just got in here. I'm gonna let the company, and I'm gonna let brothers, since you guys are new, you guys haven't had a chance to speak. And then we're gonna go to Fear This, we're gonna go to Ray, and we're gonna go back to MF. So definitely go ahead, the company, and unmute your mic.
Thank you for letting me speak on your space, and hello family, peace, power, reparations, and separation. The way I feel about the civil rights is, we've seen what these people done in the past. They did speak the truth. they were able to get people together in a nonviolent way, millions of people. It didn't work. Malcolm X, speaking the truth and everything, that method didn't work, and I believe it's because either people put someone at the top as a leader, but we have to stop doing that. If someone's just going to be a spokesperson, that means just a talking head, like a PR person. We all need to play our parts in everything. Like, we can't have nobody that wants to jump up there and or even try to push someone to be a leader. But this we already know. The code is the leader. We do what the code says. And quite honestly, what the code says to do is totally opposite from what most other people were trying to achieve for our people. I'll just leave it at that. And as far as religion, I gave up on religion a long time ago because I got to a point I realized that God didn't create religion. Religion is just it's something that was created by man, and at some point you got to let go of everything, like everything that was created by man, all the theologies and philosophies that's created by man, because man doesn't know anything, only but after you clear yourself up with that, you find the true source finding you. The truth finds you. You don't have to necessarily, go out and find the truth. The truth's within you. You are the truth. You are the religion, your own religion. And that's what helped me in life and everything. I do know there's a higher power, there's a higher source. I can't define it or tell you what it is, but it's a lovely thing because it helps you just move about life in a very easy, pleasant, fruitful way in life. You might not be rich, but you're definitely not going to be poor. Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem, no problem. Brother, go ahead and unmute your mic.
And peace, everybody. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. So to answer your first question, if 50, 60 years ago, if the black church did play a part, from my understanding, it was the place where the people who we call leaders and protesters, where they met, where they would, where they would drink and eat and things of that nature. And so it was bigger than the religion itself. And I guess that encompasses my answer to both questions, right? Because when we choose each other over any infrastructure, when we choose the unity and we make it purposeful. I know mad people that learn how to play instruments only because they went to church. You know what I'm saying? I know mad people who learn how to sing because of church. Some of our greatest divas in R&B learn to sing in church. You know what I'm saying? It was bigger than the religion itself. And then as far as the other Abrahamic religions, I'm not a Muslim myself, but I know a lot of the brothers out of Philly, they learned how to box in Muslim boxing gyms. Young brothers, even some young girls learn how to box out there in the Muslim boxing gyms. I don't know too much with the how Judaism may play into being black. I mean, I don't know too many black Jews. The closest I've ever come to it are the Islamic brothers out in down in Brooklyn who they real militant and they kind of scream shit at people. But when I was a little kid, I had somebody on my block do Kool-Aid, and every time I was seeing him, he asked me what's the mathematics, and after a while I got into the shit and it was cool. And although it sounds crazy now because we older, it was a way to be as a young dude to be in a hood, So what I land on is this: it's bigger than the religion itself or how it was written. It's our interpretation and our utility and us using it for a greater purpose, our unity and our progression. means more than any book, any building, things like that. And if we choose each other and we are objective about that shit, like wrong is wrong type shit, we stop letting people be wrong and strong in the culture. We just kill that all. We could progress with the church beautifully, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. We've never seen it, and to this day, as many others have said, it's been perverted and used against us in a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? I see that. I've lived through it. But it is useful because we have one everywhere in America, in every city, every state. If we could put them shits to use, even if we remove the church and just use the real estate for something, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But thank you for letting me speak once again. I'll land on that.
No problem. Appreciate you guys. Make sure that you guys go ahead and tweet out the space of your followers. So if they don't catch us live, they can always catch the recording. So please go ahead and tweet out the link to the space. Also, make sure you're following the host and the co-host, and also make sure you support us if you can. That's if you can on Cash App. That's $Newstoter. That is $Newstoter, the largest curator today of Black news today in America. That is $Newstoter. We're gonna go to Fearless, then we're gonna go to Ray, then we're gonna go to MF. So, and then Shepard, I see you. Well, Shepard, you up in the house. So since you're a new speaker. And you and Callie, let me go ahead and let some of our new speakers. We're going to go to Shepard first, and then we're going to go to Callie. We're going to get back to you guys. But since we got some new speakers, we want to hear their point of view as well. So,
you want me to go?
Shepard,
You want me to go and go now?
Who's speaking right now?
Yeah, that's Fearless.
Fearless, let me get the Shepard real quick,
okay.
And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get back to you. I'm just trying to let some of the new people get a chance. But keep your hand up. We're going to get to you. I promise we're going to get to you, Ray, and we're going to get to MF. We just want to hear what some of our new speakers got to say as well. So, Shepard, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, peace, co-host, room, peace. Yo, so it's like three entities really involved. One we're not really talking about, and they go hand in hand. One is Prince Hall Masonry. If you know a little about Masonry, it's a non-religious organization. You could be a Jewish Mason, you could be anything, you could be Christian, you could be a Muslim Mason. It doesn't make a difference. It's non-denominational. I say I'm bringing Masonry into the conversation because in the 20s, when Black organized religion was 1920s, when Black organized religion was really trying to get situated and figure out how they were going to run the entire organization across denominations, across America, they had a meeting. And in this meeting, the question was put to all of the biggest pastors in Black America: can you be a Christian and a Mason as well? So clearly, by the name of this title and the fact that they had to call a meeting about it in Black American churches, meant that Masonry was considered a threat or a cohort of religion in some ways, and that the oaths that you took from Masonry and the oaths that you took to the Christian God were in some type of competition in a way. So they had this meeting or whatever like that, and no one could really come up with an answer to what the final result would be if you could do both. So they left it alone, and they've left it alone for the last 100 years. There's never been an answer to that. Now, why it's so relevant to this conversation about has Christianity benefited the Black community is because these oaths like Masonry and these Greek fraternal oaths are also oaths that are shared by Christian pastors who are in the Divine Nine, which is basically an offshoot of a Mason-based affiliation. The Boule, who run them cities across America and have the police chief positions, the deputy chiefs, the Commonwealth attorneys, the district attorneys, the senators, the delegates in states across America are also Masonic, Boule, and Christian. So there's a trinity of control in the Black church and organizations, whether it's Eastern Star, Jack and Jill. They all run concurrent. It's one voltage. It's just one amperage of belief. You have to be in all three. So it's not just about the Christian church at this point in time. You know, the Divine Nine is 100 years old. I mean, it is a Black American cultural institution. It is a force that has probably equal, well, not equal, but to a great extent, the Divine Nine and Mason fundraise just as much as the Christian church. Whether they get just as much as another, I couldn't tell you. So I'll land here. It's a broad conversation because you have three organizations, not two, that all have oaths, and all of the leaders in Black America have taken oaths to almost all three at the same time. So I'll be happy to listen to what y'all think about that.
No doubt. Appreciate you, Shepard. You know what I'm saying? Hang around, stick around the conversation. We're going to get to Khalil, and then we're going to move around the room a little bit more. So, Khalil, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes, we can.
Okay, let me take this off. All right, what I'm listening to, I'm hearing a lot of tidbits and a lot of great information. Civil rights movement, when we talk about that, regardless of what you have said, the civil rights movement did just inimical step for Black people. It was the time where there was something in the atmosphere that said we're tired of being tired. It actually started in the 1930s. You know, I think about as an example, my grandparents, both born 1910, 1911. They had grandparents who were slaves that they could remember. And they had Booker T. Washington as an example. Booker T. Washington was about self-help. He was about doing for self. He, being a slave himself, understood the mind of the majority community. He said, well, if we're going to build like these other communities are building, we have to build from ground up. And if we would have stayed on that trajectory, God knows where we would be right now, 2022. But we listened to W.E.B. Du Bois, and he's all right too, but I wish we would have stayed with the W.E.B. Du Bois, because we had a lot of Black people during that time, a good number, who believed in that. And of course, Marcus Garvey was another one, but we're not going to get into that. But with the civil rights movement, those who moved from the South, American South, to the North, there was some that did well, there was some who didn't do well. The ones who did well, they had the religion of the church, and not the church that the white people gave to them. I think our people had enough sense to understand and to decipher, okay, we're coming to church because we just want to thank God for another day. We want to thank God that we have gotten up and we haven't been beaten, lynched, or if some of our respect has been taken away from the locals, they haven't killed us, but we still have enough self-respect to do for ourselves. And those people did it. Those who did not in cities and in the country, they did not do it. Maybe that's another story that we have to look into, but it gave those of us who were awakened to the New Jerusalem, the city built for square. They weren't talking about heaven. They were talking about going north or going to a new opportunity to do for themselves. So, in a way, the civil rights movement did some help for some Black people. Religion, we knew how to decipher. We knew how to take out the junk and keep the nutrients, just as our bodies when we eat our food. We understood that principle. And I'll stop here and listen to the conversation.
That was you, Khalil, just speaking, right?
I just finished.
Okay, yeah, because I couldn't see who was actually, I thought it was you, but I couldn't actually see who was actually going. So let us go ahead and get to, because I know they had their hands up for a while too. So let us get to Fearless, MF, and then we're going to get to Friedman and Harvey since they just came in.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna try to stay on it. Just keep it with that. The Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all of them pretty much have you to take away from your spirituality, which is basically they want you to idolize some being that you cannot verify or you cannot pinpoint where this being is or what this being is doing, but this being is supposed to be responsible for your presence, your creativity, or who you are. So one thing people need to realize is that we all were born with logic, and a baby is pretty much that first standpoint of showing logic, because a baby is always asking questions. The baby is going to continuously ask questions, even if you give them an answer. If that answer is not suited for them to take in and to understand enough, they're going to ask another question because it's not resonating in them yet. It hasn't germinated in them. So they're going to continuously ask questions, but that's a part of logic. That's a part of knowing. That's a part of the building blocks of who we are. Your spirituality is beyond religion, because when you get to the word religion, and I'm not just trying to pinpoint it like this, but religion you got means again, legion means demons. So basically, you have something that has been put on us, even from going from Africa, being forced into America. All that is due to religion and somebody's way of trying to sway you to be under them in a subservient way, to be of their calling for whatever they want to call us. So we have put away logic to more so suffice somebody who has a debilitating mindset, really incoherent, impaired. And I'm talking about the colonials, the European, the white. I'm talking about that because they have done this, but we let that continue to keep happening. And it's like you cannot keep thinking to be subservient to something that doesn't make any damn sense. But like I say, when you have a lot of us have not had, as far as our lineage, we didn't have a lot of answers back in the day. Of course, back in the 20th century, early 20th century, we didn't have a lot of answers, but we had a lot of authors, a lot of writers that were bringing information out to its best. And we had to take it from where that point of where they were writing about and what they were trying to do at that point. But you cannot keep thinking to just stay in 2022, at least at this point, to just think that you cannot answer the question about who is God, what is God, where is God. If you cannot answer those questions, and then you're going to say something like, I'm going to believe. No, you're supposed to know. You're supposed to learn and develop yourself. That's why if you have a student that's in school that is asking questions, and that student is not getting his answers met, that student is going to come back home and say, hey, so-and-so teacher is not doing me right, and I don't like this. You should not say, oh, well, don't worry about that, baby. Just go ahead and believe and go to class next morning. No, we're not going to do that. We gotta be fulfilled to say, I want to be about that truth. I want to be about that work. I want to be about what's going to help me to the next level and to keep me going to the next levels, because that's all the thing it is. You got to be a part of creation, be a part of, people say, well, there's a higher power. That higher power is in you. It always has been in you. It ain't going nowhere else but to be in you. But it's all within what you are. The earth is rotating around its axis. And then you have all the planets are going around the sun in a revolving way. That's a part of creation. That's a part of us in revolution. We got to be a part of not just stepping out from what people say God, and just go ahead and be that God. I mean, everything that is with what God has been described in the Bible, Quran, the Torah, all those are dealing with they're giving you descriptions of a human being and what they're doing. And you say Allahu Akbar means Allah the greatest, God the greatest. Okay, I may not be the greatest, but I'm definitely great. You know what I'm saying? Then the Bible has many places talking about gods and things like that. I mean, I listed about maybe 10 or 12 parts that shows you that you're God. Second Chronicles chapter 2 verse 5. I mean, that's just one. I'm just saying one. But I'm saying All those things are showing you who you are. And we get back to our spirituality, that's your answer. That's the one thing that you got to understand is your ancestors was brought you here because you are your ancestors. You are here representing them. You know what I'm saying? But I can go on, man. I used to teach this stuff back in the day, man. Question and answer classes back in the 90s. But, yo, keep it moving.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, brother, I'm just trying to get around the room, so I'm gonna just ask everybody to maybe keep your responses and maybe by 2 minutes, so we can just go around the room and we can come back. I know everybody's kind of passionate about this issue here, so just for the sake of time, let's just try to keep it 2-3 minutes, and then we'll go around the room, and then everybody you're more than welcome to come back and answer a question again or give another response. So let's just we're gonna try to keep it going around the room. Let me go to MF Kush, and then we're gonna go to Freeman, and then we're gonna go to Ray. I'm sorry, we're gonna go MF Kush.
I was gonna say, can you just get me, because that brother Harvey's in here and he's a pastor. I'm really interested to see what he's gonna say. So I'm gonna put my hand down.
Okay, so let's go. We're gonna go MF Kush, Freeman, then we're gonna go to Harvey, and then we're gonna go to Black Pressure and Shepherd again, or Shepherd and Black Pressure. We'll figure it out. But let's go to MF Kush. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you again for letting me up here to speak. Now, even though I do believe that religion in general hurt our community in so many different ways, it did kind of sort of help us, because during that civil rights era, we had to use those churches in order for us to galvanize, in order for us to have those conversations and figure out what the next move was going to be. I will say that, and I can't deny that's not part of our history either. At some point in time, or even during slavery, that's all we had was religion. That was the only thing that was willing to let us stay together within our community, outside of being let to, us being let to be married. Words are hard. Outside of all of that, because that was the only thing that brought us together. That was the only thing that united us. Was having that little bit, I guess you could say, of quote unquote hope. Now, was it true hope? In my opinion, no, not at all, because it wasn't native to us at all. And it's one of those kind of like catch-22 situations, because even again, going back to civil rights, we had to kind of like move within the system of white supremacy. I don't think if people truly believed that Christian or religion in general was supposed to be a peaceful thing, there would have been no agitation in this. There would have been no lives being lost wanting to have the equal right. There wouldn't have been those meetings where the fire hose was sicked on us and the dogs was biting on us and stuff like that. If it was, I guess in my opinion, if it was truly believed, because again, once your enemy does something wrong to you, you're supposed to look the other way. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate your sister. Thank you for contributing to the conversation tonight. Definitely stick around in case you want to add any more information to the actual discussion that's going on. Let's go ahead and get to Freeman. Freeman, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Peace. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Salute to the room. Salute to the space. Salute to the host, Newstoter, co-host, Ray Smiles, Dollar Bill, y'all. Holla, black. Has religion helped or hurt us? I think it has done both. I do not subscribe to the theory of God, but I believe in other people's free will and them choosing to live the way that they want to live as far as their religious denominations or whatever. I think that it has hurt us more than helped us, because when you ask a white man if Jesus was white or black, they will give you an unequivocal yes, he was a white man. But when you ask a black person if Jesus was black or white, they say it doesn't matter. That right there, when your own religion does not empower you, or when your own religion, the perception of the person who is supposed to be the savior of your people, that imagery is not one who looks like you or represents you, it can only do damage and harm from a psychological standpoint, from a subconscious standpoint. And all of that is a reflection of how you think and how you live and how you will act in your everyday life. So if you ask me, it has helped us as far as quote unquote moralities, but you don't need a religion for moralities. We have been moral prior to religion due to conceptual integration. But I say again, it has hurt us more than helped us. If you ask me, we have people, not all of us, but a lot of us, who have a problem with taking down the white Jesus picture. Historically, if you know the history, they use religion to control us. And if you can conquer and colonize someone's mind through religion or whatever, or even through the media, you can keep them docile and you can control them. Everything starts with the mind. Everything starts with the mind. If you could control the mind, whether it be through religion, which white supremacy has done, then you can control an entire group of people. And in our case, you can't control the American people. So for those of you who do not allow religion to allow you to be indoctrinated by it, salute to you. For those of you who support religion, salute to you as well. But I think that the balance is important, and the good thing is that you can be religious but still be about the American freedom. Case in point, Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So if you're going to be religious, I think we should follow in those two people's footsteps. I crashed my plane.
All right, appreciate you. Definitely stick around. Let's get to Harvey. I know Ray Harvey Burnett. I know he said that you're a pastor, so it's definitely going to be interesting hearing your point of view on this right here. So please go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, you got it done. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right, blessing to everyone tonight, and I'm certainly not gonna hog the mic here, and I appreciate all of what I've heard since I've been listening. And I tell you, we've got some brains and some minds working all across this country, and I'm proud of everything and everyone that's here tonight. But there's a few things I wanted to touch on here. Number one, the thought that I think Shepard brought up about the relationship of masonry and the influence in religion, and I want to kind of backtrack on religion itself, because we need to really distinguish the difference between religion and seeking God. I think that's the theme this year tonight, at least what I've heard, because there is a difference between religion and seeking God, and religion has been used by various groups to do various things historically throughout the years. Now, I'm unashamedly a Christian. I believe that it has the best and the most answers for every situation of mankind, and I'm from the holiness sect. So after 35 years to 40 years of serving, it's like I'm not going to change from that, because I haven't seen anything convincing over the years that causes me to believe anything else. With that said, as I said earlier, a religion can be used, and it can be used by men to do whatever they want done and to accomplish. So I agree with the brothers that we don't need to just let our guards down and not be skeptical, not be what I want to say thinkers, not be seeking and inquisitive, because when we stop doing that, we actually have lost a measure of freedom. And the whole reparations argument, in my opinion, and I'm kind of deviating, is a biblical quest, and that it's a biblical, is solidly rooted in matters of freedom and justice. And in my opinion, if you're a metaphysical naturalist, you have no spiritual or religious basis. Justice is the last thing that you can count on, because there is no ultimate justice in your worldview. There is no one that answers. There's no, you have no sky, so to speak. Whereas within Christianity in particular, we have the promise of justice, of reconciliation. There is going to be an answer. There's going to be an equalization of all things, and there's going to be justice required of those who have done us wrong. But our current biblical mode simply comes out of the matter of theft. And I tell everyone this when I'm talking about it. Proverbs 6:30 and 31. When a thief is caught, He is going to pay back sevenfold what he has taken, but he's also going to pay everything, even if it requires everything in his house. And no one can say that that slavery, the use and abuse of our ancestors, is not theft. At the bottom line, there's theft. There was other things as well, but certainly it has a basis in theft, and we have a biblical mandate to carry out our request. So that's the way I approach this, and we move forward. But just real quickly to sum up everything, so far as is logic, I heard the brother talking about logic. Well, John 1:1, he is logic. In the beginning was logic. He is the reason. God is the prime mover, and he is the reason for everything. And that logic dwelt among us. He took upon we don't serve a God that is distant from us, but he has this experience with us, and that makes a wholly unique thing. We're not trying to get to him, as I heard someone hint at earlier, but we're trying to allow him to do what he does. We're trying to yield ourselves so he can do what he does. And one more thing, and I'll finish with this. We talk about cultural influence and different things like that. We cannot separate the Darwinian thought. I think it was Darwin's book, Origin of the Species, and I forget exact title right now, but it was Origin of the Species, and somewhere along in that title, it was a longer title, but somewhere along that title it said something about favored races. It was the metaphysical naturalist worldview that actually promoted the idea of separate classism and promoted the idea of racism. And yes, a lot of religious white folks, especially at that time, gravitated toward it because why? It was the teaching, the dominant teaching of the day. And if it's like any other club, if you're not in this club, you don't believe this, then you're out. And far too many lean that way, even though in the end, what actually happened was that same Bible that was tainted by Darwinian evolution was the same one that was used to, spark abolitionists and to go back to the concept that Jesus came to make us free. He came to liberate those that were captive. He identified with those of us who were bruised and those of us who were bound. And that thing, within society was shaded for many years, and even today, many churches you go to, you walk in there as a black person in some churches, and I know I've done this, speaking, I can count on one hand, many years as I've been preaching, I count on one hand the number of white congregations that have asked me to come in and speak. They don't know what I'm going to say, but because, I don't come with their particular type of methodology or whatever, that thing is not open even to myself. But nevertheless, thank you so much for your time and attention, and I appreciate listening, appreciate all the information and the insights from brothers and sisters who have expressed themselves. So thank you much.
Thank you, brother. This should be pretty interesting because, like I say, I know what you've been a pastor. You definitely, I definitely have to believe that you think, and I know you say there's a difference between religion and definitely spirituality. So, Justin, your personal opinion before I let you go, just a quick answer. Do you believe then that religion has helped or hurt Black Americans in this country?
I think one sister said just a few minutes ago, there's a dichotomy. On one hand, it is helped us because it is the thing that really has birthed a lot of our what I want to say our advancement in that our cry, the things that we've done in society have always been centered around that, and we were always able to go to God even when folks told us to shut up. We were always able to go to God, and God responded. He soothed us, comforted us, whether that was individually or joined as a community in some way. So yes, but on the other hand, religious, we've got to admit that the Eddie Longs existed far too long. The different ones, I can go through a list and litany of individuals. And I watched this movie last night, Honk for Jesus, and what that was, people didn't understand. That's a horror movie. That's a horror show. I saw Monkey Paw Productions had something to do with that. And I said, why are they involved? Because it was a horror. So on one hand, yes, we've been hurt by religion in its, what I want to say, Western form. But on the other hand, those who have discerned the deeper meaning and the deeper elements have been blessed, and families are blessed as a result. Listen, I've got two children. Both of them are doing much better than I had anticipated. They grew up in the hood. They went to the hood school, but both of them now have jobs, education, better than myself. You know, I'm driving around my son's car. There's something that he paid for, you know, and all of that. And certainly his base was religious based. And he's living around folks, you know, O-Block. We know where O-Block is, all of that. We're not in Chicago, but we know about all that stuff. And but their lives are different, and that's influenced simply because of the religious tenets, beliefs, and the way that we lived our lives. So thank you for that. I appreciate your opportunity to express.
No problem. I appreciate having you on. Definitely stick around. Now, I'm going to get the youth shepherd. Let's get the original real quick. We got original shepherd, Black Pressure. Ray, we're going to get to you as well, too. I know you're a host, so we're just going to just fall back for a second. Let's get the original shepherd, Black Pressure. And no matter if we have a new speaker come up, those is Black Shepherd and Black Pressure are going to still be next. So go ahead and unmute your mic, original.
Yes. Greetings, everyone. Well, I want to say that I think religion has done more to her. It has helped us to an extent, but I think it has hurt us more than people realize. Because I remember when I read the book, The Miseducation of the Negro, and Dr. Worcester, he talked about the preacher driving up to the church in his Cadillac, fleecing the flock. So that book was written in 1933. So that has been going on for quite some time, where people, they tune in on their emotional vulnerability, and they can just manipulate them and make them do what they want to do. And I was thinking, because I remember, and see, I think with religion, how religion tells you that you can't question God, which I don't understand that. I was reading this book, Shows of Time, A History of the Hawaiian Islands. Now, when the white Christians came to Hawaii, they wanted King Kamehameha to convert to their religious beliefs. But King Kamehameha was smart. He knew that if he did that, it would corrupt his people. So they mounted a pressure campaign, and he never gave in. And the last time they asked him to convert to Christianity, and they was telling him how powerful their God was and what their God could do for him and his people. So he told them he needed some proof. He asked them to jump off this cliff and let him see if their God saved them. Well, no one jumped. And that's the question. It's like how I don't feel like you can tell people you can't question anything you can't see, whatever, because I think even a lot of people who think they have the facts don't have the facts. I'm beginning to read this book now. It's entitled The Africans Who Wrote the Bible. See, these lessons or teachings or scriptures or whatever you want to call them, they're old. And they was written before white people were on this planet. And I think people have to take that into consideration, because I had posed a question to an ancient Kemetic scholar. He was on a radio program. And I asked him, I said, is there a word for God in the ancient Kemetic language? And he said, no. They didn't have a God. There was, like, I guess you could say, a pantheon of energies or whatever you want to call them, that they would, look for, that they felt that was within themselves. And so I think people have to be open to hear questionings of what they say is true, because they may not have all the information. And then I'm going to close on this. I conducted some research on the word God, and I found out the word God can only be traced back to the 6th century AD. So that's not, for us, that's not that long ago. I mean, when you consider the Kemetic people lived in BC, but this word can only be traced back to AD. That's one of the main questions I have, and people get angry with me because I question And they tell me, well, that don't mean, well, that's right there, that don't mean it's true. Okay, fine. Well, you do you, and I'll do me. I don't fault anybody for what they say they believe in, but have respect for what other people know. And I'll land on that.
Okay, and I just want everybody to because that article I was reading earlier about the actual anywhere from 350 billion to 450 billion. They said that black people in this country have tithed and donated to the churches. I just want anybody that can. We're gonna go to Shepherd and Black Pressure next. Anybody that can, just ask me where is that money at? How was it put to use? Has that money has that money benefited black people? And I know some of that money has gone back because we know some of these churches out here. For all the talk we hear about churches, there are some positive churches out there that actually do some things in the community, that actually feed their people, that actually clothe them, that actually pay for their congregation light bills and stuff. If the light bills get turned off, or the people get put out of their place or whatever. So I don't want to go ahead and I don't want to typecast all churches and whatnot. So I just want to go ahead and but I do want to know, out of that $350 billion to $450 billion, where is that money at in the black community today? Where is that money? Why do we not see a greater impact with it in terms of benefiting our people's lives and whatnot? So I just want anybody that can answer that tonight, please, to go ahead and just kind of hit me on it, let me know, because you're talking about 42 years ago. We're talking about 42. In 42 years, you're saying that black people, supposedly the brokest people in this country, was able to go in their pockets and come out with almost close to $500 billion. Think about that for a second. Okay, we don't have any. How many of these actual black-owned churches have universities, have hospitals, have their own little real estate type structure set aside where their people at their church basically can live almost rent-free? You're talking about almost $500 billion that have been accumulated in the past, and that's just the past 42 years. That's not the past 100 years, okay? That's not the past 120 years. We're talking about in the past 40. That's not even the past 60 years. So I want somebody to tell me in here that can, no argument, no beef, anything like that. Just kind of hit me on this right here and let me know exactly where has this money that comes across that's greater than some gross GDPs for some smaller countries in this world. How is that money not going to benefit Black Americans in this country? I have to know this. So if anybody can, Shepard, we're gonna get to you. I really want to get this sister waiting. Let her on, because she's been killing in the comment section. So
let her go.
I gotta let her go. But before I let her go, also make sure y'all following the host and the co-host, and also support us on Cash App, $News, so that we need your help to grow. Largest black curator today and news today. So let's go ahead and waiting on what exactly. I got to hear what you got to say on this. So please go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, okay. Reparations family. Let me start off by saying where I live is 109, and it's 4 o'clock. Well, it's 6 o'clock now, and they just sent an alert saying that we won't have our air conditioning on until 9. So sister is pissed and hot. But I digress. I can tell you where the money went. I'm a church kid, Bible school, youth, choir, everything. And my church in Chicago started a school. Shout out to Oakdale Covenant. But I don't say this in a negative or a positive light. Most of the time, when churches get to that point and they don't want to get to that mega shit size, they'll start doing that school. They'll start, opening like a little preschool, and then they'll turn into like another little school. But just, I don't think it's good or bad, but I do see that they do that. However, before that started to come into play, everything that we needed from the church, they didn't give us. We needed food, we needed shelter. So 40, 50, 60 years ago, that in itself is like laughable. Once they started to see that they weren't, once we started to see that they weren't going to help us, it was our fault. But here's the kicker. The churches don't even help the other churches. Where was the churches to help Jackson, Mississippi? They didn't have all of these, consortiums and, all of these meetings where everybody got to go look good and all these hotel rooms and everybody had to, put some money in for the pastor so he could go like everybody else's pastor.
Hey, make sure everybody has their mic muted, okay, while she's speaking, please. Go ahead, sister. You can go ahead and finish saying what you were saying, sister.
You there, Sister BB? Going once, going twice.
You there, sister?
Yeah, janky phone.
I think we may have lost her. She gets a chance to come back up here. We gotta go ahead and finish letting her say what she was saying. Sister, you may have to step out and come back in, but Shepherd, let's go to you while we try to get her back.
Sounds like a plan. I wanted to hear where she was going with that. Yeah. Lot to the subject. When I first came off, I really didn't even speak to, the benefits of the losses of religion or anything like that. I was just talking about the history.
Shepherd, Shepherd, 1 second, because I see she's back up. I'm gonna get back to you. Let's let her finish.
Let her finish, bro.
Go ahead, Wayman.
Well,
you there, sister? I don't know. She's having some connection issues here, so we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and let you get it back on track or whatever. And then when she gets her phone straight, then we'll go ahead and we'll get back to her. So Shepherd, go ahead and finish. And we got Black Pressure. So Shepherd, go ahead and finish up.
All right. So the first time I spoke, I didn't even get into was it good or bad or anything. I was just talking about the history of the handshake, the trinity of Masonry, the Boule, the Divine Nine, and Christianity and the Black community. That's a holy trinity that is lasting, 100 years since. It's who we are, and it's baked into Black America. So you try to separate the Divine Nine from the Black Christian Church or the Boule from either or, it's just not going to work. The whole system falls apart. You can't have one without the other at this point. And everybody elected in office right now who's a Black American, at least 95%, we can run down the affiliations in every single office, is a Black Christian, Divine Nine, and Mason in many cases. So let's go back to what Reverend Ike said back in the day. He said the best thing he could do for broke people is not be one of them. That's this Reverend Ike. He said it wasn't no God. He said we God. This Reverend Ike. He said we God. He's one of the biggest pastors in the Black community. Go look him up on YouTube. You can see his speeches. He said we are God. He said we are the epitome of God, and everything that's in the Bible is just a representation of who we are in allegory. So you take that for what you will. I'm not co-signing it or I'm not disputing it. Look at the other two of this trinity of back in the days. You got Father Divine, right? Father Divine, he's a huge figure in the Christian church, and he also brought the concept of buying real estate. If you look right now, every area that's gentrified in Black America, only the historic 100-year-old churches, 50, 75-year-old churches stand left in Black communities. Go outside today, walk your community. You're going to see the only thing left if you've been gentrified is the church, because they knew back then that the church could never be touched by white America. That's the same reason y'all saying that, where's the money? So some of the money they spent in buying real estate. They spent in being the first realtors to buy real estate. Daddy Grace had 500K followers. Father Divine had 500K followers. They were right there up with Marcus Garvey with his 3 million followers. And they were all in kind of competition together because it was a small pie in America, and they were all splitting it up amongst each other as far as getting donations from Black America. So it was a lot of money for us, like Newstoter is saying, being the poorest of the poor, that these men like Daddy Grace and Father Divine were multi millionaires. But they left a legacy of the Prosperity Church, of teaching that the Black community, that we needed to buy real estate and we needed to get our shit together, and that we, it's a lot of bad traits that Daddy Grace and Father Divine had, but there was a lot of good traits as far as being the first industrialist and the first capitalist in the Black community that we ever seen. So if you look up them three, you'll be like, wow, they had this much money and this much influence back then. So is Christianity hurtful or helpful in the Black community? That's really an individual question. And where is the money? I'll land with this. I'm not happy with the current state of where the money is in the Black America. But I also realize that the church is not what we think it is. If you know real estate, churches don't grow organically in the community that they're from anymore. Most of the 100-year-old historic churches are empty. If you go in the AME church that's 200 years old, 180 years old, they're empty with a bunch of old people singing old hymnals that nobody wants to sing anymore. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and this type of stuff, right? They're empty. The pastors that are making money, they come from somewhere else. They see the church somewhere where they don't even live, and their congregation comes from other places that's not that community. So they don't really feel like they have a duty for that specific community because they're not even from there and they don't live there. So that's why it's a disconnect. So landing with that, where's the money? The money's going in their pocket into Bank America and all of the banks, and the money's getting loaned back out, like you said in the beginning. Newstoter and Dollar Bill, like y'all said, the money is not staying in the Black community. So I'll land with this, man. It ain't up to me to, judge you if you believe in Christ. We all believe in a maker or don't, and that's gonna be our individual choices. But is a church corrupt at this point in time? Yes, it is. All right. Peace.
Peace. Appreciate that, Shepherd. Black pressure. We're going to get the black pressure, then we're going to go ahead and swing it back to you, Harvey, and we're going to get you in here too, Ray. Ray, matter of fact, you've been waiting for a second. Is there anything you want to go ahead and say real quick?
Hey, News, let Ray go, because he was before me.
Yeah, I'm going to be here real quick. I just wanted to see if the Reverend was still in here, and I just wanted to ask him a quick question about the last days. Because, people have always said we're in the last days. They've been saying that for hundreds of years. But I just wanted to see if he truly thinks, with everything going on in the world and the way things are going, are we truly in the last days?
You talking about you want to ask Pastor Harvey that question?
Yes, Reverend Harvey or Reverend Tim, because I tagged him because I wanted to, two pastors, I wanted to see their perspective, just to see, are we truly in the last days with everything going on with all this? I hate to say it, with all the LGBT stuff, with all the corruption, with all the, the fornication and all this other stuff going on. I just wanted to hear their perspective from two pastors.
Well, let me, Black Pressure, do you mind waiting 1 second while he answers this real quick?
No, sir, man. Let the brother burn. Get to me whenever you feel like.
Okay, appreciate that, brother. Harvey, Pastor Harvey, please go ahead and unmute your mic again, if you don't mind answering that question from Ray.
Yeah, I don't mind answering, of course. I mean, if we look at things that are going on, the things that are happening now are not new to the world. I have to say that. We have different technology, and more technology, and maybe the proliferation of evil is at a different level. But when we look at, what's going on, the content, the spread, the acceptance, all of these things are pointing one direction. And if like I said, if we don't believe, if you have no system of ultimates, then none of it matters. None of this matters. No evil is just as commendable as right. Refrain and doing the right thing is just as commendable as the darkest evil. if there is no ultimate justice or anything, and we're going toward the place where there will be a reconciliation of all things. Whether that happens tomorrow, whether that happens 100 years from now, I don't know. However, we are going toward that way, and we're going toward that way as a humanity, as a human vehicle, no matter white, black, whatever. We're going that way. Thank you.
All right. Black Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic, and then we're going to get to My Army. So, Black Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic.
No. You know I'm the villain, right? You know what's about to happen. So I do want to commend our good brother Harvey. Much respect. Takes a lot to be a pastor, especially in the black community. But I do want to say this. One of the ways that Western religion has hurt black people, especially what we call the black church and Christianity, it sells us the supernatural. And I'll tell you what I mean about that. You know, I'm from the southern United States, born and raised between Houston and Beaumont. Spent most of my life between those two cities. So, you know, just like the sister said earlier, church every Sunday, Bible school, everything. I didn't think they had that much church in the world when I was young. But what religion has done to black people, it really makes us docile, and it makes us timid to say who your real enemy is. Because, like I say, the black church says, "Oh, Satan is your enemy, and the evil spirit, and he's our ultimate tormentor." Well, goddamn, when I look around, and like I say, if for black people, even if you have an elementary understanding of black people in history, and I'm not just talking about in America, because that's too easy. When you go back to the mother continent with our ancient ancestors, you could go back to the Punic Wars where Hannibal had to fight the Romans. You can go back to you could go back to the Crusades, and this is when white people were attacking each other. The Crusades, the Spanish Inquisitions. You can go back to the Battle of Alexandria, where Egypt had to fight the Romans. You could, like I said, you could cross the water, the transatlantic slave trade. You could talk about the black codes. You could talk about the different scientific, the barbaric experiments that white people did to black people. You could talk about the prison industrial complex. You could talk about the school to prison pipeline, police terrorism. Everywhere that white people go, genocide follows. And I say this, well, goddamn, if Satan is our enemy, he sure like to dress up like a white person. And I guarantee you, when you press these black pastors about who's your enemy, they're going to sell you the supernatural. Like you're fighting some dude with horns and a pitchfork and a spiked tail. I'll say this too. When you look at a situation like this, and this is a question and kind of a question mixed with a statement. Like I say, grew up in church. Christianity teaches black people that, you know, God loves everybody and Jesus died on the cross for everybody's sins. And, you know, in the end, if you repent, give your life to Jesus, we all get a spot in glory. So this is what the black church is selling to black people. You take black people, right? Never exacted a transatlantic slave trade against white people. Like I said earlier, never set up racist institutions against black people, like the prison industrial complex, the black codes, all the different genocides that took places in the wealthy black enclaves. Just anything you can name. I'm so overwhelmed with things that would hope, you know, barbarism that black people committed, that white people committed against black people. This is what the black church is telling me. The man that did all that, the 100 years of lynching during Jim Crow, all that shit that white people did to black people, you telling me in the afterlife, the white man and the black man, we get the same reward? What kind of fucking deal is that? And excuse my language, but I'm sorry. I have emotions too. You look at all this shit that white people have done to us. Like I say, it's easy just to name America. You go back to the mother continent. I know our brother Harvey evoked Charles Darwin. That dude was born in the early 1800s. Black people have been having to fend off white people and their barbarism for 3,000 damn years. Charles Darwin has nothing to do with the influence of race and ethnicity in the psyche of black people. White people have committed these atrocities and barbarisms against black people for 3,000 damn years. And I'm going to say this again. You telling me that the victim and the victimizer both get a spot in the afterlife? And I'll land my plane right there.
Right. This is starting to heat up just like I kind of figured it would. Definitely got some yeah, you got some passionate folks up in here. Insane. I know you had your hand up, and then you lost connection on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to Insane. I'm gonna go ahead and get to My Army, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to Reverend Tim, and we're gonna come back to you. Wait, just to make sure that your phone is straight right now. So let's go ahead and get the Insane, My Army, the Reverend, and then we're gonna get back to you waiting.
Newstoter, Ray, and Dollar Bill. Great space, man. A lot of important stuff being touched on, man. You know, and I love what I'm hearing, man. The back and forth is great. Different perspective, wide range of viewpoints being shared. You know, frustrations about how, you know, we've been let down. And I have to, you know, I'm kind of on the side of saying that, you know, there have been times when religion, as we practice it, was a springboard for a type which led to a type of spirituality, you know, especially during the era of slavery when, you know, the slaves, many of whom simply devised songs related to the Bible and sent messages to other slaves on other plantations. Oftentimes there were coded messages. Sometimes they may have been trying to help people escape. I think then and there they were stepping way beyond religion into a spiritual space and really making a connection with a higher energy. You know, as it's practiced on a day-to-day basis, you know, going in and out of these churches, I have to say, you know, it has not been really played a major significant role, I don't think, since the 60s in terms of lifting us beyond the bondage that we are still in. You know, it's allowed us to exist. Yes, they've gone, some places have built schools and they go out, some of them, and pass out some food and stuff. But I think overall it's been about just building up churches, these huge churches, and you know, dressing up and going to church could become a real social type of thing. It has allowed us, those of us who participate in it, to be very comfortable and complacent in the state that we're in. So, you know, it hasn't done a lot in the last 30 to 40 years in terms of where we need to get to or where we should be as a group of people. Regarding what some stuff that Shepard mentioned earlier and the Masons, yeah, I've read some of that same material. And what I'm finding out now, one of the earliest third parties in this country was an anti-Mason party. It was called the Anti-Mason Party because they were being revealed. A man who was a member, man from a simple background. I think he had been a mason, stone cutter, and he became a member, but he saw some things, so he decided to publish a book about them and reveal secrets. In the wake of his death, this party was formed. Needless to say, there have been many theologians who came out. Again, Shepard is about right. I think it was late 1800s, early 1900s, who began to speak out about Masonry because there was indeed a movement to forge Masonry and religion, that being certainly Christianity. So there was major pushback, and there have been numerous cases of mysterious deaths. I want to say a very prominent black man, I cannot think of this man's name right now, but I want to say a very prominent black man in the Midwest, maybe 1940s, suffered a horrible death. And it was believed to have been done by the Masons because he was trying to reveal certain things about them as it pertained to Christianity. And Shepard may know some more about this. So again, has religion hurt or helped? It's been a long time. I think it's been a very long time since it's really, really helped us or gotten us in a space that everyone around us is comfortable. Certainly for the amount of power that churches have, the amount of money they collect. It's just become a money making, almost they become almost like corporations. These pastors and these jets and these very fine cars and these television shows. And, that's what it's become. So it's moved far away from it. There's very little attempt, I think, or feel to really bring people real close to that spiritual element, that closeness to a higher being that needs to occur. And I'll end my plane with that.
Thank you. Appreciate that, brother. My Army, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Good evening, brother Newstoter. Man, bro, you always be having some good stuff. I'm glad that you brought the space forward. So, I mean, it's kind of a weird situation because we talk about religion. And so we have to ask, which religion? Because the greatest religion right now on this planet is white supremacy. So yes, religion has definitely harmed black people. What falls under that religion of racism, white supremacy? Any type of other religion there is, because guess what? All of those other religions, no matter where we are on this planet Earth, because we can't leave here right now, no matter what religion it is, you will find that black people are on the bottom. You go to the Indian country over there. The caste system puts black people below the bottom, right? Below the bottom. You go over to Egypt and Israel and all those places. It's like we're a hidden secret. We're on the bottom of it. We might be under the dang on pyramids. Go to Canada, same thing. Go to Mexico, the same thing. Go down to South America. They wiping us out. So the religion is racism, white supremacy. That's the top religion out there. Now, if we want to look at it from a more close perspective, we want to separate religion from the church. Okay? Because at one point in time in this country, the church was a foundation that allowed us to come together and bring our families together and keep us together and give us morals and values and make us have dignity and respect for one another. But somewhere along the line, we lost that for each other. And I, again, have to come back and say, we got to separate religion from the church. Because the church used to require that of you. You used to be scared to do things. You used to have it in your mind, oh man, the pastor might know. Oh man, God will see me. Because that kept us from being barbarians, right? Barbarism and some other, we would call religion. Somebody hit on it earlier today. The Kemetic beliefs, which was the Dogon people, they had different types of religions, if you want to call them that. The way that we able to survive was through their beliefs, was because of a certain type of spirituality or religion. Because the white people have always been barbarians. And we almost lost the planet due to them if it wasn't for the gods of the Dogon people to save us. So, I mean, this question, there's no doubt, nowhere in the world that religion has not ever did anything good for us as black people. Because as long as it exists, racism, white supremacy is here to harm us. Now, land there.
All right, appreciate you, brother. Definitely appreciate your point of view as well. Reverend Tim, he went ahead and I guess he had some connection issues. So if he comes back in here, we'll definitely go ahead and get him back up in the space right now. Let's go back to Waiting. Waiting, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, just real quick before Sister BB go. Hey, I just want to agree with Black Pressure and My Army. When you guys get a chance, get in the Jumbotron far left side. It's called The Last Kingdom. When we talk about, when they, speaking about old world, how barbaric some of these European countries are and still are. They're doing the same thing that you see in these TV shows. They're just using legislation to screw us along with a little barbarism. You feel what I'm saying? But go ahead, Sister BB.
We can hear you. Are you there? She's having
I'm phone 5,000, sis.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh
yeah,
go ahead.
They were trying to block me earlier, so.
Wow, you guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes,
wow, this is weird. I should take a screenshot of this, but it's just too damn hot. I don't know where I stopped ranting, but I'll just go back to. Okay, so I understand the pastor, that's talking right now. We really have to be, committed, and you really don't have anything if you really don't have faith. So whatever you believe in, your wife, your husband, your dog, or whatever, if you really just don't have faith in that situation, then you're sort of not being, you're not being truthful to yourself, because you got to believe. So I understand the pastor, saying what he's saying, but in the last days, it's sort of like a pipe dream. It's sort of like a boss telling you, in 15 years you could be a manager. What the fuck? So it's sort of like, if you can't give us a time limit, and I think he referenced this when he said, there's there has to be an end. Well, nobody keeps paying for anything if you never buy the house. Nobody keeps paying on layaway if you never get the clothes out. So it's sort of like, when is this going to come to fruition? But I kind of figure we really got played when Jesus wasn't even listening to the pastor to complete the damn building fund. Okay, if Jesus could work that situation out, because that building fund was perpetual. I mean, I don't know, what kind of building my pastor was working on, but it never came to a point where the building fund has been met, the goal has been met. So Jesus couldn't even kick that shit off. Us having people not, beat us and, talk shit about us, and we get no respect. I was looking kind of side-eye, for real. But why are we even in this situation where we needed to be okay Monday through Saturday, being pissed off, so we can go in on Sunday to say, do it again next week? What the fuck was that about? How did we drink that Kool-Aid? Monday through Saturday, we get our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters getting dogged. But on Sunday, all we needed to hear was, let's just do it again next week. I'm going to land my plane. Like I said, it's like 115 now. I don't know what the fuck going on. But I'm going to keep listening, but I'll make my comments in the comments, because I tried to get back in several times, and I missed a lot of good points. But I tell y'all, we got to stop this shit. I land my mic.
No problem, sister. Glad that you was able to finally get back in. So definitely go ahead and put your comments in the actual comment section. I know you was kind of going off a little bit in there, so I enjoyed actually reading them. So go ahead and drop your comments in the comment section. And we'll get a chance. We'll go ahead and we'll try to definitely reply. So definitely appreciate that. We're going to go to Shepherd. We got Harvey. We got Mr. Engaging, and we got Black Pressure. So we're gonna
let Mr. Engagement go before me, man. He's a new speaker.
Okay, Mr. Engagement, go ahead and go ahead, bro.
Hey, Sister BB, update your phone, sister. Update the operator, sister. Update the applications. Go ahead, Mr. Engagement.
You got joked.
I know. Android gang, Android.
I want to say salute to that brother Chef. I definitely want to weigh in on this conversation a little bit, and I think we need to look at it from a historical perspective a little bit. Black American people, our civic engagement stemmed from the church. There's nothing wrong with that, but it always was stemmed into religion because we were banned from these civic organizations that were created and some of these fraternal orders that were created. That is a problem. And I think that we should be seeking reparations for that as well, as because it hurt our community, how we interact, how we do things politically, and everything else. With that being said, the reason why I'm bringing that up and making you guys aware of that is because some of these civic organizations didn't allow membership until after the 70s, after we had our civil rights. So that's alarming within itself. if you ask me, because some of these organizations stem back to 1917, 1916. So they got over a 50-year head start on us. That's the problem. And if our civic engagement is based upon religion, that could alienate other people who might not be as religious in our community. Not everybody's a Christian, not everybody's a Muslim, and not everybody believes in the same things that other people believe in. Hence the reason why I joined some of these civic organization groups, because I want to give back to my community, but I don't want to do it underneath the guise of religion. I think that that's a personal choice, you know? That's up for the individual, not for somebody to dictate how I should be philanthropic to the community that I'm a part of. So I think that religion has hurt our community because of how it's applied. So I just wanted to make people aware of that. Just my observation about that.
Definitely appreciate that. This is Danger. Let's go ahead and get to Shepherd. Shepherd, go ahead and unmute your mic, and DJ, hold it down 1 second for me.
End of the business, bro.
All right. So let's look at where Christianity has failed at. Let's go to India. India's civilization was around 2,000 years before Hinduism, before Christianity even got over to India with the British. Now, you know the British MO, they're going to come over there, they're going to make you a deal, they're going to sell you some guns, they're going to sell you a little bit of trinkets or whatever, and they're going to take the land, and then they're going to form a government. Well, that's what they did in India. And they was outnumbered in India just like in Africa. But Indians from India never gave up their Hinduism. They never gave up their cultural dress to dress European. They never gave up their language. They never put that English and British culture was better than their culture. So that's why Hinduism reigns supreme to this day, and Indians have a high self-national and cohesive identity as a people. Let's go to Nigeria. Nigerians was in the same predicament that Indians was in. Nigerians allowed, on the other hand, the British to sell them some trinkets, to sell them some guns, to split them apart by clans, and then to infiltrate with religion. And they went for it. And it destroyed Nigerian culture forever from where Nigerian culture was, unlike Hinduism. You know, Nigeria had a bunch of its own religion and spirituality practices before Islam and before the British with Christianity. And they were doing fine with that. And they would still have a cohesive cultural identity if they did not go ahead and do that. Now, let's jump to the other one. Let's go to China. China wanted everything that motherfucking British had to offer, Western clothes, everything. But at the same time, they did not give up Buddhism and the Tao and what they believed in, and did not convert all the way. They resisted every turn of the way to Christianity and kept their cultural things intact. Now, African Americans, FBA, whatever you want to call it, we did not have a choice in accepting or not accepting. When we didn't accept, that meant jumping off the ship and drowning ourselves like many slaves did, to not give it up. It meant, you know, like you seen in Roots, getting beat to death until you capitulated and said your name. It meant we came over here in different tribes, but the white man's so devilish that he split us up because he knew exactly where he got us from and what tribe was what tribe. He knew more about us than we knew about us from the inception of him buying us and trading for us. So he split us up by tongue. So we could never cohesively keep all of our identity. So we used the next best thing, which was Christianity, to hide our own identity inside. That's why the Gullah Geechee have an identity that's wrapped around African culture that's still within some boundaries of Western society. That's why Louisiana speak like they speak, besides the other cultural influences of the French. And that's why a lot of other cultures inside America is why we created our own music too, our own music culture. So I'm gonna land here. It's about resistance and not being conquered your ideology from the white man. Once you start believing wholeheartedly that the white religion, the white man, the white God is superior to you, you've lost. And that's even today too. So peace on that.
All right, I'm back. And just because I know this one thing that we've been talking about tonight, and I know and like I say, because I didn't title it has Christianity helped to hurt Black Americans. I mean religion as a whole. And I know Shepard, you touched on some early on, but I just want everybody to know that this isn't picking on Christianity. I'm talking about religion as a whole, because we have tens of thousands of Black people in this country now that call themselves Hebrew Israelites. They call themselves Black Hebrews. We have Moors. We have Islam. So we have so many different things. Have any religion. And I'm talking about has it. We can talk about the positive impacts it made. We can talk about the negative impacts, but I just want everybody to know that I wasn't specifically talking about Christianity. I tried to a couple times just to put I was talking about the Abrahamic religions pretty much. So this was not an attack on Christianity, anything like that. It just has religion helped to hurt Black Americans in this country at all. So that pretty much was just the gist of what we were trying to cover tonight. Black Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you, kind sir. So I got 2 points. One, I'm gonna start out. I gotta beat this dead horse. I have to, because and you make a good point. I wanted to shout you out when I spoke last with It Slipped My Mind News. You make a great point about not just picking on the Abrahamic religions. You make that is an excellent point, and I'm gonna get to that after this. So this is strictly for Black people and their edification. And I'm not saying that like being condescending, because I had to learn too. So I'm gonna run down a quick list, okay? I'm gonna start with the Trail of Tears, right? The genocide that white people committed against the Mongol Native Americans. The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Where they dropped hydrogen bombs on human beings, white people. You really have to understand what happened to those people. These people were instantly incinerated. They did this to the elderly and women and children. They burnt these people to a crisp. The Tuskegee experiment they did to our distant foreparents. The Devil's Punch Bowl during the Civil War. The Wilmington, North Carolina bombing. The Tulsa bombing. The mass lynching. So when slavery ended in 1865, there was a period for 100 years until the Civil Rights Bill was signed in 1965. People like to call it Jim Crow, but let's call it what it really is. There was a 100-year period where Black people hung by their necks until they were dead. I want you to understand that. They were dead. White people showed no mercy on any gender nor age group. You can go to the crack epidemic. You can go to the landing of Columbus, where a lot of Black people don't know how vicious this dude was. He literally had dogs eat our ancestors alive. You can go to COINTELPRO, where the FBI killed every civil rights leader that existed, from Malcolm to Martin to Medgar Evers, Fred Hampton, so on and so on. You can go to economic deprivation. So I say this to people that are a part of Abrahamic religions, namely Christianity, because we're speaking to Black people today. Does justice have an expiration date? Because Black people keep getting taught, oh, boy, that God is gonna come and that day is coming where it's gonna be reconciliation. Well, guess what? The people that hung by their necks until they were dead, they waited on God too. Our ancestors that was in the guts of slave ships, they waited on God too. They cried out to God too. Where was their reconciliation? See, that's easy to say. Like today, we sitting in our houses, we got our jobs, we can go take $2 and $3 grand out the bank, take our families on vacation. Black people suffer as a whole, not individuals. And that's one of the other things that Christianity did to the psyche of Black people. It indoctrinated like, hey, shit, that shit ain't happening to me. That was back then. But anyway, I'll move on, and I'm going to move on to this Newstoter. You made a great point. Like I say, a lot of people don't like this. And I have some friends and a few family members that are into the ancient African faith systems because they don't like the word religion. They say, well, the ancient Nubians and the Egyptians and the Carthaginians, those ancient African empires, but they didn't have a religion. Okay, they did. I'll give you that. They had faith systems and they had a culture. Well, guess what? like you say, News, that shit failed them too. Because if you go to the Battle of Alexandria, Rome marched into Egypt. Egypt was an empire. This wasn't no bunch of niggas hanging out, on the corner. This was an empire. They marched into Egypt. They kicked them in their ass. They burned Egypt to the ground. They made Egypt a Roman province, and they forbade them to worship all of them 2,000 different gods they had, that Osiris and Nu and Horus and all those different gods they had. They forbade them to worship them gods, and guess what? My eye couldn't help them. None of them 2,000 gods the Egyptians believed in, they couldn't help it when that white man marched into Egypt. So you make a great point. You can't just pick on the Abrahamic religions. The ancient African faith systems failed black people too, and I'll land my plane right there.
Total, yield me 10 seconds.
Who just said that? Who just said that?
That was me. That's Wolf.
No,
hey,
Shepard,
yield me 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Well, your 10 seconds be like
no, 10 seconds. I would already
you ain't gonna talk for 10 seconds.
Yes, I am. 10 seconds. I promise you.
Yeah, because we got to get to Harvey. So
all right, 10 seconds. I would have been done already. Look, I just wanted to address him. The Marshall Islands. Add that to your list. Nobody ever speaks about the Marshall Islands. 23 nuclear bombs were dropped on the people on the Marshall Islands. Melanated people of the Marshall Islands. I don't know their race. And then 67 nuclear tests was done on the people of the Marshall Islands. They treated what was done to Hiroshima and Nagasaki was done even worse to these people on the Marshall Islands. And America watched those people, just like Tuskegee, suffer and then ran tests on them to see how they could maximize nuclear power and nuclear devastation on humanity even more. So I'm with you 100% on the devilish nature of who we're speaking of. Thanks.
Hey, a Newstoter, like he said, I'm sorry, 10 more seconds. I just want to tell Brother Harvey, hey, I respect him. I love the brother. We both black. I am contending with what he's saying, but I'm trying to do it as respectfully as possible, and I just want him to know that.
No doubt, and I'm sure the brother understands that everybody's going to have different points of views and whatnot. So you're not saying it in a disrespectful tone, and I'm sure the brother, being a pastor, he's heard all kind of different opinions and whatnot too. So, Pastor Harvey, go ahead and unmute your mic. Pastor Harvey, you still there?
No, I think he there.
Yeah, here I am.
Okay.
It's not working right, man. I got a delay or whatever. I guess the brother's just burning me up, so I can't punch these buttons right. But I appreciate what's been said, and yeah, the brothers bring up some valid points, but I just want to kind of backtrack just a little bit and then really kind of deal with your question that you asked about where this money is going. I kind of want to deal with that just for a second. But just to backtrack, I think when we look at these injustices and the injustices that have been named, can't one of you point to any scriptural mandate, especially I'm not talking about anything else, any other religion. All I know is Christianity. I do know a little bit about the Bible, but there is no mandate, especially through Christ, to drop bombs, to pillage, rape, whatever the case is. There is no mandate. All of these things, what we're conflating is human behavior that's common to men of all race. Modern racial slavery and justice, these are, it's more novel than historical, because slavery and injustice was not a racial proposition historically. It was a proposition that existed based on the human condition. And what we're doing is taking the human condition, which certainly we all agree is evil. That's one common place that we start. But there is no, what I want to say, anyone that can hold themselves out as some great bastion of moral rightness. And I can say that because as FBA, as Black Americans in this country now, aside from those who were here when it was quote unquote discovered, whatever that means, but those who can trace their ancestry to those shores of Africa could not have been here without there being an injustice
perpetrated by the people of the same color of our ancestors. White man did not have enough leverage to just wholesale we're going to take millions of blacks and ship them around the world. We're just going to come in and do that. No, that was a great deal of the responsibility was because of the human condition that existed in fellow blacks in order to undermine the freedoms for whatever reason. And I don't even want to deal with that. I mean, we can talk about that. There's many credible resources, all kinds of stuff to talk about that type of thing. But we cannot think, because we're looking at many of the novel injustices, that this thing has gone historically one way. And dealing with justice, as I said before, and I'll say it again, that if we do not, and this is one thing that holds many Christians, and one thing that it held me, that after all of this, and in the midst of this, and when I say justice, it's not going to be some private justice. Have you ever read Revelation? Have you ever read the summation of all things? This is not anything done in a corner. It's not done, well, you did this little bit.
You there, Pastor?
You still there, brother?
God, that's God, boy.
News. This nigga is lying. News. Let me tell you this. He said
Don't
that.
call him a nigga, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I take that back. He's lying. Let me tell you why, News.
Let's let the brother finish real quick, Black Pressure. Let's just see if he's still Pastor Harvey, you still there?
Yo, it's 150 killing sprees by God in the Bible. There's over 2 million deaths orchestrated by God in the Bible. So he was kind of going left and not understanding that Brother Black was saying, if God is so prevalent in life, why is so much murder and killing? And how can the white man have the same justice as God? But the Bible was written by people who admit that they never even met.
News. He said these white people's barbarism was novel. That means it rarely occurs or is unusual. That's all they ever fucking did. What does it mean that shit is novel? Hey man, I'll kick this nigga out the room for real. That is an outright lie.
Look, his end of days just came. Okay, so
Yeah,
he's a good brother. Don't dog him too bad. He just believes what he believes.
I gotta get rooted. So it did sound like you was starting to get on that we our own worst enemy type of tone. It did sound like it was going there.
That sounded like God hit him with a lightning bolt. Just with
Black crime.
I gotta hold him down, y'all. Be easy on the man in the cloth, man. Be easy.
I just
My bad, I didn't mean to hit the mute, but yeah, let's just, like I say, let's let the brother have his opinion and whatnot, and just let it be that everybody knows, because I heard the brother, he was saying some stuff that I agree with, but I heard him also, he was also talking about the basically for slavery to take place, we had to have a hand in it, which is true. You had black people enslaved, and what do you want to say? They were Africans. They was this. They was that. They enslaved Negroes. I get what he was trying to say and whatnot, but at the same time, I understood what.
But he was using it as a justification.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you guys said as well too. Is that
Newstoter? It was to the point that he was going to put that curse logic thing, and I don't subscribe that we're a cursed people, man. I think we need to. That's the problem with religion right now. Respectfully, this is the reason why you won't have good stand-up brothers that go up in these churches.
Hey, y'all! Before we go any further, let Demigod, because Demigod is new speaker. Let's let Demigod, and we're gonna let Jason also get a chance to speak as well. So, Demigod, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Oh, hey, how everybody doing?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. Well, I think, in my opinion, I think religion hurt us, because if you go through history, when you go through history, whenever a country conquers another country, what they do? They give them their religion.
Hey, hold on, Jimmy. Hey, Black Pressure, mute your mic, bro. Mute your mic, Black Pressure. Go ahead, Jimmy.
And the reason they give them their religion so they can control them. Religion is a good tool of control. And when Africans came here, they tried to use religion to control us. I know all y'all probably heard of the slave Bible. You try to twist the Bible up all kinds of ways, but religion was always a tool of control. It's try to make you more, more controllable. Try to make you more passive.
You mean docile, bro?
Yeah, pretty much. And you gotta think about it. You still there, brother? Yeah, I'm here. You gotta think about it. Do you think somebody gonna give you a religion? Somebody, especially somebody that conquer you, think they're gonna give you a religion or a book that can get you into heaven? Do you think they really want you in heaven? No. And I know we were talking about, they were saying stuff about, all these ancient society and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't religion that made them fail, and it ain't religion that made them, a strong nation. It was just a society. Religion had nothing to do with it. But you got to think about it too. A lot of people that's dysfunctional, they easily to be converted into all kinds of religion. If you live in a dysfunctional lifestyle or family, you're looking for something that's bigger than you. Instead of looking for that power from within yourself, you're trying to find that power somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely agree with you on that part as well. Most of the time, like you say, somebody that's conquered or beaten, the victors don't do anything to help the captive. So I definitely understand what you're saying on that part right there. Brother, let me go ahead and get around the room so we can. But I appreciate you coming in and chiming in. We're gonna have the next few speakers. It's gonna go pretty quick, y'all, because we're getting late. We've been on there for a while, so we want to get our other speakers, give them a chance to actually speak as well too. We're gonna move around the room, so everybody try to keep your responses as short and quick as possible. Jason, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, shout out to the room. Can y'all hear me real quick?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, okay. I'm very pissed off right now because, those pastors, you're supposed to say that. You're supposed to say it because it sounds good. You're supposed to point the finger back at black folks. It's supposed to be our fault some damn way, somehow. See, but at the end of the day, when you think about the black church, because religion has hurt us, and it hasn't done nothing for us. Because when you really think about it, bro, every black church has a kids choir, a men's choir, a women's choir, a praise team, step team, marriage ministry, singles ministry, finance ministry, youth ministry. They even got God placement ministries, prison ministries. But you know what damn near 99% of these black churches don't have? And I'm very pissed off. As you can tell, you can hear my voice. They don't have a goddamn injustice ministry. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no black church is raising hell about, what's going on in Flint, what's going on in Jackson, what's going on, what happened with our family out there and you know what I'm saying, in Buffalo, getting gunned down. But hey, we got a damn building fund that we got to uphold. You know what I'm saying? The biggest thing with religion, and I grew up in a predominantly Christian household. You know what I'm saying? And even my mom, as slave-minded as she is, she finally starting to get out the Kool-Aid, bro, because think about it. Like a brother said earlier, logic, right? In the Bible, we hear stories on how Jesus turned water to wine. You know what I'm saying? Fed a multitude of people 2 fish and a loaf of bread. You know what I'm saying? When them people tried to build the Tower of Babylon up to heaven, guess what God did? He made them speak different languages so they couldn't understand each other, so they wouldn't be able to do the blueprint to finish the damn thing. God set bushes on fire when people didn't believe him. So my problem is, if we're sitting up here going off all these scriptures and all these stories, about you know what I'm saying, God or whatever in religion, why can't that God we read about? Why can't that God we study? Why can't he do those same things that we studied on when we was coming up as kids? Why can't he? We've been in a radical situation for over 400 years, going on 5+, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna need that energy from the scripture. I'm gonna need that energy to restitute our people. Period, bro. I don't want to hear no bullshit. It's our fault some way, somehow. I don't want to hear that, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, MLK, he knew what the deal was, even though he was a pastor, but he eventually realized at the end, right when they killed him, bro. That's what I'm saying. He realized at the end, you know what? These crackers they're not rocking with us, bro. We need our check. And guess what they did? We all know the story after that. So, you know what I'm saying? It's cool to say what sounds good. It's good to we've been given a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. That's the equivalence of we've been thinking a Band-Aid is gonna fix this gunshot wound with no alcohol, you know what I'm saying? Not hospitalization, getting everything stitched up, cleaned up like it should. That's what we've been dealing with, bro. And like for a lot of these pastors to come in the room and kick this bullshit to us, like nah, bro, I'm sorry, News. I hate to be the villain, bro, but this right here makes me angry. I don't want to sit up here and say that I don't want to sit up here and say, disrespect everybody that's in religion, but think about it. Catholics, they bless the slave ships going to go get us. You know what I'm saying? KKK is a goddamn Christian organization. So why can't it's so much, there's so many loopholes that's in religion, bro. And for some reason these pastors coming in the room creating these loopholes, creating it our fault. Nah, bro, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that, dog. So I'm gonna just stop right there, land my plane, because I'm pissed off on a lot of this stuff that I've been hearing in this room from these pastors. It's disingenuous, you know what I'm saying? Because all these Black Wall Streets, all these billions of dollars and trillions of dollars that these black churches rake in, we should have plenty of Black Wall Streets. None of our brothers and sisters should be out here suffering. But guess what? It's our fault. Some way, somehow. And I'm going to just land my plane right there, man.
Definitely appreciate you, brother Jason. And I'm going to go ahead and as everybody speaks, I'm going to start dropping y'all back down to listener and whatnot. But before I drop you, I just want to say, Jason, that I get your passion and whatnot. That's why I had to mention the amount of money from 1980 to now. And like I said, that article I read now, that article I believe was back in 2008 or 9 or something like that. So the article is dated, okay? For the past 40 some odd years, you done had close to $500 billion that black people have donated and tithe. And that's why I just asked everybody, I'm like, where is this money at? Why hasn't this money done more than what it's doing? So I just wanted to put that out there. So I understand everybody's passion and whatnot. Y'all know what I'm saying? It's just a discussion. So I don't want y'all blood pressure to raise up anything like that. I know how we get sometimes in these discussions. Everybody's passionate. I respect it. I don't agree everything with that brother say, but I respect his opinion. He's a pastor. We pretty much know how pastors are going to think and whatnot, and that's why I tried not to make this a Christianity type theme. I want to talk about religion as a whole, because all religions, what if all religions done for black people in this country? That's my main thing. We know Christianity is the dominant religion in the United States. We know that. But for a lot of our brothers and sisters that go to other religions and tell you that, hey, you're worshiping a slave master and you're worshiping this and that or whatever, then you got to look at them and say, okay, brother, well, where your religion come from? Sister, where your religion come from? What have y'all done to benefit black people and this and that? And I'm not talking about people using the Nation of Islam as always the shining example. If you're talking about Islam or using the Noble Drew Ali, you take a couple people here and there and you say, okay, well, this is what they've done. I'm talking about as a whole, what has it done to progress the black race in this country? So I know a lot of times we'll take 2-3 individuals, whether it's a Christian, whether it's somebody in Judaism, whether it's somebody in Islam. So okay, well, look at the prime example. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about as a whole, what has it done for black people? Because if you want to be real, if they're saying that 400 and some odd $1 billion from 1980 to now has been given by the black community, I'm really thinking it's a lot more than that. And we want to be honest. I'm really thinking it's even more than that. Like I said, $1 trillion, $500 billion that we have tithed and donated. I've seen elderly black women who can barely pay their lights, but yet they're going to take that 10%, barely can walk, barely can get around, everything, health failing and everything else, but they're going to make sure that tithe goes to church. Okay? They're going to get out there and they're going to do those bake sales and those fish sales. And them kids going to be out there washing them cars and this and that. So, I mean, I'm just, like I say, I just want to have a discussion tonight just, about where how has it helped? How has it hurt? So I don't even want everybody to get all like bent out of shape. But we're gonna have different opinions. That's how it is, or whatever. And I was hoping that we was gonna get some brothers in here that was Moors, that was in Islam, that was Israelites. I was hoping that we was gonna hear some. We heard one sister tonight. I was hoping that we was gonna hear more sisters speak and whatnot too, because I love to get their opinion on it and whatnot. So, like I said, as we go, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and start dropping speakers because we're going to be wrapping this up soon. But I want everybody who's got their hand up to get a chance to actually speak. So, Jason, brother, this brother he always looks out for Newstoter. Definitely appreciate this brother's his support. I can hear how fired up he is. I can hear black pressure. I saw black pressure coming. I'm like, oh boy, like let's not get it sideways, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna remain cool and calm, y'all. We're gonna do what we gotta do, and we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna finish the night strong, and we're gonna let our brothers get up in here and say what they gotta say. So, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I do not know the actual order, so I'm gonna, since we have a lady up in this spot, I'm gonna let Waden go ahead, and so she can go ahead and get her final say in there. We're gonna move around the room, and we're gonna get everybody who got their hand up, okay? To the co-hosts, don't approve anybody else to speak tonight. The people that's got their hands up are gonna be the last people that actually speak for the night. So, Waden, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, let's all be civil and talk to each other in a calm and cool and collected way, because Jesus is listening, because he does listen to our prayers and our whatever. Look, we can give the reverends and the pastors grace, okay, but when it's detrimental to us as a family, as a black foundational American family, then we need to nip it in the bud. I wrote down a couple of things, so I'm going to be real quick. If the church knew that we were going to get money because if its congregation was starting lawsuits, they would have been more in tune to us. They just didn't get that notice from God to say, you can make money a different way. I just put in the comments how they did this in Buffalo, New York. No pastor did anything other than what you see. I'm not even going to go into it. Okay. They call religion the opium of the masses. Okay. That's not something we came up with because, we couldn't read and shit like that. So that's what they think of it. The last thing I want to add is it's sort of our fault, like I said, for somebody to listen to somebody else say, if somebody steps on your foot, don't get upset about it. We shouldn't let that shit ride. That makes no logical sense. To go into a building and have someone tell you how you should react to how the outside world is treating you. I land my plane. I love y'all.
Love you, sister. Love you. Definitely. Thank you for support. Wait, I know. I heard. Did you have another profile? Because that voice sounds so doggone familiar.
Well, hell yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, damn.
Hell yeah. Well, hell yeah.
I'm like, what? I like the voice. Like, I know this voice, and come on. Okay. All right, sister. Well, definitely, I'm definitely glad that you spoke in the space tonight, and make sure that you continue to support the Newstoter spaces, continue to support the content. Definitely love having this sister up in here tonight, so definitely continue to support. Let me give a shout out to my girl Aunt La, who always looks out and whatnot. Aunt La, thank you, sister. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Y'all that want to support Newstoter, please go ahead and support Newstoter, $Newstoter, $Newstoter on Cash App. That is $Newstoter once again. So if you got $1 and you want to contribute to the New Black Media, you can go ahead and throw $1. That dollar will definitely get put to use. So that is $Newstoter. Let's go ahead and see. Here it is. I see you having problems, connection issues. So let me go ahead and let you get up in here, y'all. Let's try to keep the topic, the conversation to 2 minutes if we can. 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be real quick, man. I just want to say, look, as a people here in America, look, all of our answers are already been answered by all the religions. If you see that we have had all these atrocities, all these inhumane practices, right now we got Flint, Michigan, we still having Jackson, Mississippi. All these are going on right under our nose and dealing with the term God or Allah or Yahweh. All this is happening right now. We need answers. We need to understand that our ancestors have answered everything we need to know. All the lynching, all the castration, pickling our body parts, and so much of other things that's inhumane. We have to be the ones to be the go-getters to make this thing happen, to change the negatives to positive. It's only gonna come through us. It ain't gonna come through some thing come out the sky or whatever. We gotta have to be and set the tone for our next youth generation to know where the fight is. I'm gonna say it just like that. And that'll be the Jesus or Muhammad, Moses, whoever you want to call, as far as being that savior at the end of the lineage. Say it just like that.
Definitely appreciate you, brother, and definitely appreciate your contribution to the actual discussion tonight. We're gonna go ahead and go to the next speaker, but definitely appreciate you and make sure, Fearless, I know you come in here definitely into the spaces. Definitely continue to support us, brother. Definitely continue to support us. Definitely appreciate having you up in here. Let's go to Demigod. Since you already just spoke, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move you down to actual to the listener, because we're trying to go ahead and we get to the people that haven't spoke recently. So let's go to we're gonna go to Original. Original, go ahead and unmute your mic.
But Newstoter, I want to say this. You're right. Religion in itself, it doesn't matter which religion, whether it's Islam. There's a book. It's called Lifting the Veil. The guy, I was trying to find it in my library, and my library is a mess right now. But I think his name is Rizola. His mother tongue is Arabic. He was born in Iraq. And what he said in his book was that, you know how they go to Mecca, and they march around this huge brick slab? But according to him, he said that Allah is that rock that's inside of that slab in some glass casing. I mean, he has some stuff on the internet, and it was so powerful, they shut him down. And I know there was once on a radio station here, I called in some years ago, and all I said was, Africans are being held enslaved in these Muslim countries. So this brother from the Nation of Islam decided to call in and attack me by calling me out my name. And what did he do that for? By the time I got through with him, somebody was saying, well, the two of you all know to have a conversation. I'm like, it's too late for a conversation. My uncle taught me, don't let nobody pump you down in public, because you'll never live it down. And so, and he wanted to have but no, it's too late for a conversation. But he came to me like a man and said, well, look, man, I never heard of this. Can you share some information with me? And I would have done that. But so it doesn't matter the religion, that emotional level is still there, because people are taught they have to defend it, and they have to defend it with their lives. Because, and I'll say this, and then I'm going to shut down, like my mother, that's all she knew was Christianity. I remember before I left California, I called my mother, and I told her that I had a conversation. See, our father was killed when we were young. We don't remember him. But one thing I was told as a child, that Jesus could raise the dead. So I asked Jesus to raise my father from the dead, and I'm still waiting. So I told my mother I had this conversation with my father's spirit, and some of the things I shared with her, she was like, yeah, that did happen. And so my mother transitioned in 2019. She was in an automobile accident. And so she began to communicate. Because what she used to always tell me, she said, babe, I just worry about you. I just worry about you. She said, I'm just concerned about your soul. And so when she transitioned, she communicated. She said, baby, I think y'all may be right. She said, it is beautiful here, and I haven't seen Jesus. And my father greeted her as she entered the spirit world. And so she came back again, and this is a woman in this realm. All she knew was Christianity, and she said, Jesus don't exist. And that came from a woman who, if the church door was open and she was feeling well, that she was there. And I'll land my plane with that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Original. Always a great speaker. Always somebody who contributes. Always somebody who supports the platform. So definitely glad to have you up in here, brother. Definitely glad to hear your opinion about this topic tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down from the speaker. We're gonna go on to I gotta go to Mr. Engaging, and I'm gonna go to My Army and Black Pressure. So Mr. Engaging, go ahead and unmute your mic. And also, before you go, Mr. Engaging, let me give a shout out to LaFear. LaFear, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. It is greatly appreciated. Definitely thank you for your support to Newstoter. Mr. Engaging, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, thanks for allowing me to speak. I definitely want to weigh in on something. It's more like the dogmatic nature of these religions and how it's applied in our community. And what I mean is that you have different religious factions that compete against each other or rival against each other. And I don't really see anything that's beneficial. But when I look at other culture groups, they don't rival the way that they rival how we do in our community. And I think that that's counterproductive. I really see religion sometimes when it's applied, it's very divisive. Because people in our community will only help out Black Christians if they're only Christian, or if they only help them out if they're only Muslim. And I find that that's really destructive. It really, again, hence the reason why I don't really dibble and dabble in the religious circles like that, because like I'm Black first. I didn't know anything about no damn religion, but I know that I'm Black. I know that I'm a Black American, and I know that I'm being targeted over that. I think that that's more of my highest priority versus something I can't see, feel, or touch. And I know that might sound wrong to some people, but that's what I just know.
Hey, brother, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. I mean, religion, one thing we have to worry about, we have, just like anything else in life we learn, you know, religion is taught to us. I mean, it's taught to us by our parents or our family or loved ones. So, you know, it's taught. I mean, you just don't wake up, you just don't come into this world knowing how to read a Bible and knowing about biblical stories and stuff like that. It's passed down to you. It's taught to you. One of the things about the Bible says, basically, you're supposed to suffer the babes unto me. So, I mean, you bring them in at an early age so they can get used to the actual teachings of the word. So that's, you know, that's how we were. That's how pretty much, I'm pretty sure most of us in this actual room was actually raised. I mean, and then later on in life, you know, people, they stir away or whatever, but we pretty much all was raised that way. So I definitely disengage and definitely appreciate having you speaking tonight. We're going to go on to the next speaker, which is My Army. My Army, go ahead and unmute your mic.
So I'm going to leave you guys with this here. At one point in time in my life, I was a minister. Then I went to Italy. I went to Germany. I went to Korea. I went to Egypt. I went to Israel. I went to Jordan. Went to all of those places. See, I went to Constantine's churches, which used to be his houses, right? See, a lot of people, white people, they write about their things that they've done. They want to be remembered, right? So why don't you guys take a chance and look up the Council of Nicaea? See, if you do a Google search, it tells you something different than what it really was, right? So just a tidbit. It was a bunch of these people were gathered, these religious people from around the world were gathered together in a room and told they couldn't leave unless they be murdered, unless they were able to translate their religions and put it together, right? So they put the Bible together and they came up with Jesus somehow. So, you do what you want to do with that. It's up to you. So I've been over to Israel, okay? There's no burial grounds for anybody over there in Israel. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, any of those people, there's no burial grounds for none of them. I've been to Galilee, the Sea of Galilee, all of that stuff. There's none of that stuff. They've got this ship over there that they said that Jesus rode on when he rode across there. They just, saying that. But it's just a ship from the old days that they happen to put back together. So I've seen the Temple Mount and all that stuff, I seen the little circle where they say Jesus was at or whatever, been all those places. Right? Then I went over to Egypt. I lived over there. I lived there in Egypt and Israel. Right? All the dead people that were there, they dug all them up. They unwrapped them. They took all the jewels and stuff out of there. All of that stuff y'all see on the walls and stuff, all of that, that's real. I touched it. All the writings that they got, they call it, what do they call it now? I forget. My brain ain't working too well. But it's real. All that stuff is real. Then like I said, you go on over to Germany and they don't show you this stuff on TV, But if you go in their little churches and stuff, you'll see a lot of these black faces and stuff. Black people faces. Not white people, black people. Okay? But you do what you want to do with that. It's up to you. Just want y'all to know that everything white people do, they write about it because they want to be better than the next person. The Council of Nicaea is a good place to start if you want to find out about where your religion came from. And I'll land there.
Thank you, my army. Thank you for contributing to the discussion tonight. Definitely value your opinion, and definitely make sure you stop by and you check us out. And I know you've been in the space before, so definitely want to have you come back by and definitely speak and whatnot. Let me give a shout out first to Gregory and Michelle. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App Newstoter. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for your support. Anybody else that would like to support, you can support us. $Newstoter. That is $Newstoter. Black Pressure, my man, I know you got something to say, so I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Come on now, News. Come on, man. I'm a good guy. I am. But I'm going to say two quick things, man. Noticed when I was bringing up all the horrors and atrocities that white people committed against black people. I went back, 2 millennia. I really didn't. It slipped my mind to say I want to ask the brother, the pastor, show me where black people ever committed any atrocities like this to white people, but I didn't get to that. But notice when I was bringing up all those atrocities, he went to black pastor script, and he would not confront white people. He wouldn't even say it. But I'm gonna move on from that. Whatever, you take that how you would. But I do want to say this. I jump off into a lot of spaces on here. I work at a refinery, so my time is very limited. But I do jump off into a lot of spaces on Twitter. 95% of them are garbage. What I do want to give you a shout out, News. You jump off into these other spaces, and man, it's just unadulterated nonsense. You get in there, and it's you've been locked up, and you broke, and your mama a dyke, and your daddy walked out on your family, and nigga, I'ma pull up, nigga. When I see you, I'ma whip your ass. It's just a bunch of just juvenile nonsense, and I want to shout you out, News. It's you and maybe less than a handful of other people. Y'all really have the best rooms, man. I'm gonna give you, like I say, give you your flowers. Your rooms are they're awe inspiring, they're thought provoking. Black people can come here to learn. It ain't no nonsense. So man, shout out to you, man. God bless you. I wish you a long life, and I look forward to your next one.
Definitely, brother. We'll be here tomorrow. You know the time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely come through. We're gonna have some more real topics that we like to discuss. So definitely make sure you come through, man. And you're right. Some of these rooms are crazy, bro. Some of them crazy. Let me give a shout out to Leon, and let me give a shout out to Danielle also for your contribution on Cash App. My people like showing some love tonight, so thank y'all. I definitely appreciate it. It is a grind. It is hard. I love doing the spaces, but I love putting out the content even more. So make sure that everybody on this space, make sure y'all visit newstoter.com daily. The ultimate curator of black news today in America. Make sure you visit that site daily. If it's just 30 seconds a day, go visit. You will find some content that's worthwhile. Trust me. Put out like 35 posts a day on Twitter directly from Newstoter. So definitely make sure you guys go to the site. If you guys have your pop up on, make sure you go ahead and disable it, because most of the times you don't need to, but depending on the browser, the phone you're on, it may not let you read the entire article. So if you're on there and you click to read more and you can't go, that means that your pop-up blocker is preventing you from going to the actual main site to read the entire article. Make sure you go ahead and disable it so it would allow you to redirect and go to that website. So just a little heads up. And once again, I thank you guys so much for all your support. You guys are definitely supporting, and we're growing, and we're getting there, and we're putting out the content. And every day, y'all let me know that, hey, I appreciate this and I appreciate that. So thank you very much. We got to get to Shepherd. Shepherd, I know you got something interesting to say as well, too. So go ahead and unmute your mic.
That's what's up, yo. I appreciate it. Appreciate you too, man. I know sometimes we go at it, man. That's what I like about your platform. You are as fair as you can be. That's my compliment to you. You don't find that on social media. people are just not fair. It's just, you can't shoot the fair one. You know what I mean? All right, so look, yeah, I'm born and raised in a church, man. So grandfather built a church in a small town of Princeville, mortared the bricks, was a Mason. That's why I speak about them type of things like that. But church and the Bible was for warriors, man. And white people and black people both have the same book, but use the book differently. It's about 50 or 60 scriptures in the Bible that just got to do with chopping off people's heads and going to war. It's one, Psalms 18:34. He trains my hands for battle so that my arms can bend the bow of bronze. It's 160 different killing sprees in the Bible that God is basically to blame for. There are 2,800,000 different specifically enumerated scriptures of deaths in the Bible, whether it's plagues or whatever the deaths are that God is directly responsible for. The Bible in the white man's hand is about conquest of Chinese, of Africans, of Indian continent. The Bible in the hand of black people is about peace, pacification, laying down, getting on your knees, revenge by not having revenge. It's like having a birthday without having no cake. It's about getting on your knees. And we find that crept into the civil rights movement. We find that philosophy crept into even current George Floyd protests. Colin Kaepernick is on his knees. George Floyd protesters is talking about say my name and begging for white acceptance and in a passive way. We see that the Bible used in Christian nationalism today in 2022 is about killing and arming ourselves, and Jesus is a general, and we are not using the Bible the same way as they are using the Bible. So if we're going to be Christians, if you're going to be Christians, or you're going to be whoever you are, then use the Bible the same way as my message to y'all who are Christians. Be more like deacons for defense and less of pacifists. This is the reason why my father, he came back from Vietnam and he saw how the white boys got down in Vietnam. They was shooting the Bloods in their back. It was killing black people every chance they got in Vietnam, putting them on the front lines, giving them dishonorable discharges and court martials if they ain't want to do no fuck shit. He came back and joined Corps. He joined the Black Panthers. He joined, and with his skills in Nam, he understood that my grandfather's ways with the pacification in the Bible and my grandmother's ways was yesterday's price, as DJ Khaled would say, was not his price for that day that black people needed to say, not fuck the Bible, but take out the parts of the Bible that was about war and being nationalists and being soldiers and use those parts. So I land with this right here. I'm not against you if you're a Christian. I go to churches. I have that same feeling when I'm in a church and I hear a spiritual hymn and everybody around me is in sort of a trance and a rhythm and everybody around me is really feeling the spirit. I don't necessarily know if that's a spirit of God or is that just the spirit that we have through our melanin and our shared ancestry and our connection and our heritage, our lineage. I don't know what's what. You know what I'm saying? I know I feel it. So there's no way you could discount the love that black people have for each other, whether it's in the church or in the street. When black people run, we all run. So there's a shared biological DNA that we all trust each other innately. So in closing, let's not dog Christianity as so much and learn how to use and ally ourselves with those who do believe in it, and find some common ground so we can fight the real enemy. And that's all I want to say.
And I agree with you 100% on that one there too. Definitely, I believe with religion, we should go ahead and use it like like Dr. John Henry Clark said, use it to your advantage. Use it where it benefits you, and if that means politicizing it as well. And I know people say, well, you can't do that with the 501. White folks do it every day. Use it to definitely empower you and your people. And as long as you're doing that, then I don't have a problem with it. The issue I had with it, like I said, when we talk about the amount of money that's been donated to the church, it has not been used, in my personal opinion, to empower the community the way it should be. So we get that straightened out. You know, people can believe what they want to believe, whether they Muslim or Christian or Jewish or atheist. I don't care. Believe what you want to believe, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like you say, unity is the only way we're gonna really move this thing forward. So we have to have that. Now, I wasn't gonna let anybody else speak, but Reverend Tim was trying to get on for a while and had connection issues, so he came back up, and it's only right that I go ahead and let this brother speak. So, Reverend Tim, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate you.
Can you speak a little bit louder, Reverend, if possible?
Here.
Still there, Reverend?
You there? God is not letting Reverend win tonight.
Right. That's what thank you guys very, very much for just giving me a quick opportunity. I'm not gonna hold you up. I'm not gonna be long. Just want to say, hey to Ray. Appreciate you, Ray. Let's go this here route, because I was in the room before, and where did that young brother go? The young brother that was here, a Black Pleasure Panther or something like that.
Black Pressure,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I like some of the stuff that he was laying down. And he is somewhat correct. And I'm gonna float off of him just a little bit. He is correct when it comes to the way that the Black church has turned out our people. You see a lot of these here preachers getting rich off of the church. You see all these mega churches popping up, and like you said, the money is not flowing back to the community. Now, when I grew up back in Memphis, Tennessee, we went to church. We got food from church. We got clothes from church. We had the necessities and the things that we needed from church, the things that we couldn't go into town to get because of the way the white people treated us in town. So we would go to our church to get these things. And that's what drew me into the church and listening to the word, is knowing that everything that we needed as a Black unit, as Black people, we could get it straight from our church. These days, that doesn't happen. You know, we're trying to bring that back, but it's hard because we've lost so many people to this silliness that you see that goes on in churches these days. These preachers are having babies and having, relationships with the women that are in the church. Things of that sort that's going on. And I'll be the first one to speak on it. I'll call it out real quick because I know what religion means to me and what it has done for me. I do believe that we are coming up on the end times. Don't get me wrong on that. You can see it, like I said, with the way things are going, with all of this here stuff that's happening out in the world. I just tell people point blank, get ready. Now, not everybody follow Jesus. Not everybody's going to follow religion. I don't beat people with the Bible. You'll never see me go out and hound people with the Bible. I'm going to give you the word. If the word makes you feel and think that you need to be part of what's going on, come on. But if not, hey, Noah left a lot of people also who laughed at him also. So it's up to you at the end of the day, if you want to follow him or if you don't, when it's all said and done. And like I said, to that young brother, no, I teach a Black theology. I teach that we are strong people. I teach that we are proud people. I teach that we are conservative people. That's what I teach. I teach that yes, you have a right to a firearm. You have a right to protect yourself. You got a right to every one of the amendments that they have here in these here United States. There's no reason that you should not abide by the law, even though it's a broken law.
but we need to fight to make sure that we can overturn the slave laws that they have now. That's what I teach. And I land my plane there. Thank you, Reverend Tim. I appreciate you coming into the actual discussion tonight. I'm glad that we were able to hear from you. Definitely, please always feel free to drop by and join the discussion whenever we're having one of these spaces going. Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right. So we winding up for the night. So just a couple of quick things I wanted to definitely add, man. The brother Jason, the brother Black Pressure Chamber, Reverend, and the Reverend Tim just spoke, all just speaking facts, man. So I just want to definitely double salute to that brother. Something I'm surprised that didn't come up, which I thought it would be about the ship that brought us over here was called the Good Ship Jesus. A lot of people, probably don't know that or may have just forgotten it. So I just wanted to definitely, throw that little point in there. Another thing, like I think it was Brother Jason, and he was talking about the Reverend, not the one that just spoke, but the first Reverend that spoke, and how he was trying to blame stuff on us when I'm glad he kind of checked them on that because, like I said, I mean, how many white communities have been burned to the ground by black people? How many thousands of white people were lynched by black people? Can you name me one pregnant woman that was ever lynched by a mob of black people? It doesn't exist. How many white schools and churches were bombed or set afire by black people? Can anyone provide me any similar version to apartheid or Jim Crow segregation that white people were legally subjugated to by black people? Can anyone name me one black doctor who experimented on white children in the nation's best hospitals and universities? None of this stuff exists, so I don't think what he was trying to really reach at was really relevant. And Army of One, I definitely agree with what that brother said because a lot of I haven't mentioned this before, but I actually lived in Italy for 3 years too. I lived in Naples, Italy. My youngest daughter was actually born over there. So a lot of stuff he was telling about those artifacts and stuff, I've seen it too. I've been all over Italy and I've been to Russia and a couple other countries. So a lot of the things he said, he was 100% fact. So a lot of that brother was speaking a lot of truth. And the last thing I'm going to leave on, or land my plane on, whether you're Christian, atheist, Buddhist, whatever. When it comes time, family, we need to put all of that to the side. The words of Malcolm X, we got to put that stuff to the side because the goal is reparations.
Definitely. That's definitely correct. That's the number one thing that reparations. I say reparations. I say black empowerment too. I definitely say black empowerment to me is number one, and then black empowerment reparations falls in there as well too. So definitely they interchangeable, but I definitely believe black empowerment is definitely what we definitely need to focus on as well. DJ, I'm gonna go ahead and let you get a final say in there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and close it down for the night. You there, DJ?
Damn. Yeah, I'm over here. My bad, yo. So basically, I think we agree to agree on everything for the most part. But the one thing that we never really have time for is trying to find a solution. So we already know what the black church have done and not doing right now, currently, maybe, depending where you may be at and what congregation you flock to. But what are the solutions to try to maybe reinstate some of these black churches? Kind of like Shepherd said, a lot of these old churches that have been around 100, 200 years, they ain't being occupied by nobody young. Everybody's still singing the old spiritual Negro, wade in the water and swing little chariot and all that other good spiritual gospel songs. So what are the solutions? So I guess that's something to think about later on or tonight while you rest your head and say your prayers and all that other good stuff to the Lord. So think about some solutions that I guess the black church used to do for the community and how can we bring those things back. And speaking of reparations, right, Sister Angela, the reparations perspective, she on live, so let's mosey on over there and keep the conversation going, y'all. Peace. Reparations up.
Absolutely. And once again, thank everybody for coming out to the space tonight. We had a great space again. It was definitely a topic worth discussing. I wanted to actually talk about this a while ago, and we was able to get to it. So I'm definitely grateful that everybody was able to come into the space tonight and contribute. DJ, you got your hand up.
Yeah, pardon me. Check the Jumbotron, y'all. I posted the link in the Jumbotron.
Yeah, so definitely appreciate everybody that came to the space tonight. You guys know Monday through Thursday we hold these Twitter spaces 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow we're going to have us another space, so we will definitely send out the notifications, letting everybody know. Definitely check it out. Sometimes we have some real hard-hitting topics and stuff that's not as popular as some people might like, but we still have to hold these topics and whatnot. So we're going to do that, whether it's 10 people in the room or it's 200 people in the room. We're going to go ahead and we're going to discuss things that we feel need to be discussed by the Black community. So once again, I appreciate everybody that came into the space, all the speakers, all the listeners, everybody who tweeted out, and everybody who contributed on Cash App. Everybody who...
Wait in the... Oh, my bad.
I'm about to say, who in the hell is that? But
Take your day job, Trevor. Take your day job, but I got the studio Irvington, my nigga. Come pull up. Oh.
Wait in the water.
Anyways, yeah, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to sign off for the night. So you guys make sure you check out Angela's space, the reparationist perspective. Definitely go up in there and give that sister, give her some support as well. So we'll definitely see you guys tomorrow. So you guys have a good one. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you once again for coming to the Newstoter.